Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76. 3 Swords to Destroy Demons. Xiang Mountain. The cave on the top of the mountain. Ancestor Xuanji opened his eyes, and his graceful body stood up. Wearing a purple palace dress, he looked elegant and noble, and his demeanor was charming. Interesting. Sensing something, Ancestor Xuanji walked barefoot, and in a flash, he had reached the top of Xiang Mountain. The night wind was howling, and there were a few stars in the sky. Ancestor Xuanji looked into the distance. 5,000 miles away, there was demonic energy surging, evil spirits fluctuating, and death energy confusing. If I don't take action, the Lu family will surely die tonight, and hundreds of thousands of mortals will die. Just a few little mice dared to steal food from my house. Damn it. Ancestor Xuanji spoke, a trace of anger flashed across his beautiful face, and the terrifying power under his graceful figure was erupting. The light on his palm flashed, and a 3-foot-long dragon-patterned sword appeared, emitting bursts of sword sounds, like a roaring dragon. The sword seal at the center of the brows glowed with a hint of heroism and transcendence. Destroy. The old Ancestor Xuanji shook his sword and thrust out 3 swords. 3 sword key pierced through the night sky, and turned into eternal light that disappeared in the distance. The old Ancestor Xuanji put away his sword, and returned to the cave. He lay on the bed, closed his eyes and rested, as if nothing had happened. It's over. At this moment, the bloody magic knife chopped down. A trace of despair flashed in the eyes of the elder. Then a ray of light appeared. This light was too fast, so fast that it was beyond the eye's capture. When the eyes saw it, the light had already hit the body of Fang Laomo. Bang! The light shot through Fang Laomo's body. Then, the body of the old demon who had reached the half-step purple mansion exploded, like a blooming firework, blooming beautifully in the night. Swish. At this moment, another ray of light appeared, but at the moment in front of him, it split into 10 rays of light, stabbing at the bodies of 10 demon cultivators, and then their bodies exploded. The third light appeared again, but it did not attack the remaining demon cultivators, but attacked Beacon County. The Great Elder, the demons, everyone was stunned, all stupid. A demon who had reached the half-step purple mansion, 10 demon cultivators who had established their foundation, were killed on the spot by the light. The demon body was directly shattered into dust by the light. Not good. This is the supreme sword energy. This is the supreme sword energy of a sword cultivator. A supreme ancestor has taken action and killed us from a distance. Not good. After hesitating for less than 3 seconds, the remaining demon cultivators fled in panic, not caring about anything else. No one paid attention to the Great Elder. Escape for your life. Escape for your life. They are demon cultivators, selfish people, but not desperate people. When they encounter an irresistible enemy, they will choose to run away instead of foolishly resisting. Who is it? Which senior took action? The Great Elder took out the pill and swallowed it, carefully observing the ashes on the ground, sensing a faint sword energy. This is not a light, but a sword energy. The sword energy is too fast, as fast as a light. Under the sword energy attack, 11 demon cultivators were easily killed, like ants being trampled to death. The remaining 5 demon cultivators were also like dogs that lost their homes, and they all fled for their lives. Which ancestor took action? Sword cultivator. The only sword cultivator nearby is Ancestor Jin. This place is about 5,000 miles away from Xiang Mountain. A distance of 5,000 miles. He shot and killed 11 demon cultivators. Ancestor Xuanji has such a powerful method. The elder thought about it, and a look of fear flashed in his heart. But Ancestor Xuanji, why didn't you kill the remaining 5 demon cultivators? The elder was a little puzzled, but after a little thought, he understood. If all the demon cultivators were killed, no one would publicize the achievements of this battle. Leaving the 5 demon cultivators behind would just be a good opportunity to use their mouths to publicize the reputation of Ancestor Xuanji and deter the demon cultivators from entering. After a short break, the elder went to Beacon County. When they arrived at the county town, there were traces of burning by the magic fire and wounds made by the magic knife on the city wall. The formation had been broken, but at the location of the gap, there were 6 ashes scattered on the ground. Alas, the 6 magic cultivators had been killed by the sword energy of the Xuanji patriarch. Ancestor, have mercy, the elders said respectfully. At this time, a man and a woman appeared at the wound of the city wall. The man was mature and wore a white Taoist robe. His eyes were deep, as if there was endless good fortune contained in them. The woman was handsome, with skin as white as snow, graceful and elegant. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also elegant and demure. It was Lu Xuanji and Yi Fixu. Lu Xuanji said, just now, a flash of light passed by, and 5 magic cultivators died. It was the Jin patriarch who took action. The elders said respectfully. Ancestor Jin. Lu Xuanji's thoughts flashed through that stunning woman, her graceful figure, snow white skin, long legs, and her domineering eyes. When a woman is good enough, talking about her appearance and praising her stunning beauty is a blasphemy. It's 5,000 miles from here to Xiang Mountain. From 5,000 miles away, the sword energy shot in and directly killed more than a dozen demon cultivators. This is too terrifying. Lu Xuanji calculated the distance, the energy lost during the movement, and the direction lock, etc. It felt a little impossible. The lifespan of the giant ancestor is close to 1,000 years, and he is proficient in all kinds of secret techniques and killing moves. It is not something we can guess. If you don't reach the Giandan realm, never guess how strong the Giandan ancestor is. The elder warned. Xuanji, you lack reverence. This is a good thing, but also a bad thing. You have to weigh it. By the way, send all the spiritual stones and various materials from the demon cultivators to Xiang Mountain. These are the spoils of the Jin ancestor. Maybe the Jin ancestor doesn't care, but we can't care. The elder warned. Without the Jin ancestor, the Lu family will perish. Send yours to Xiang Mountain tomorrow. Xuanji understands. Lu Xuanji nodded. Xiang Mountain, in the cave. Lu Xuanji lay on the bed, unable to fall asleep or meditate, but thinking about what happened tonight. Tonight, the Lu family was in danger and almost wiped out. But it was those 3 swords in the air that killed 11 demon cultivators, and the Lu family was out of danger and became safe. At least the demon cultivators dared not come to attack for the time being. The weak Lu family had a chance to catch their breath. This was a great favor to the Lu family. Mobile phone. Calculate how strong that sword is. In the process of fate deduction, that sword is a sword of a Giandan sword cultivator, which can kill a purple mansion cultivator from a distance. That sword, from the initiation to the hitting of the target, only takes 3 seconds. That sword has the power of cause and effect, with the cause as the aiming point and the effect as the sword energy. When the cause is sensed, the sword energy has already shot out. Some concepts are beyond the scope of deduction, and belong to metaphysics. Deduction cannot be performed. Deduction has reached a bottleneck, and cannot be performed. At this moment, the mobile phone made a jamming sound, and it could not be deduced or calculated. Broken mobile phone. Cursing in his heart, Lu Xuanji began to fall asleep. He was a little tired from the battle tonight. He needed to sleep to comfort himself. Chapter 77 Gifted to Counties. When he woke up the next day, the spring was bright and beautiful. In the hall, the elder was sorting some items. There were the spoils of killing the demon cultivators yesterday, and some gifts prepared by the Lu family. 200 kilograms of Jade Emperor rice. 200 kilograms of red copper. 200 kilograms of black iron. 200 kilograms of spiritual iron. 10 kilograms of gold essence. There were also several other things, the value of which was 3,000 spirit stones. Lu Xuanji felt a little distressed when he saw them. The elder was also distressed, but he still reminded him, these are all gifts for Ancestor Jin. Ancestor Jin may not care, but we can't not send them. Many times, if you send gifts to those big shots, the big shots may not remember you, but if you don't send gifts, those big shots will definitely remember you. Ancestor Jin saved my Lu family, and my Lu family should be grateful. These small gifts should be sent. Lu Xuanji nodded and said, Ancestor, I know. Xuanji, last time. The elder wanted to say something, but when the word came to his lips, he fell silent. Forget it, I won't say much. Just like that, Lu Xuanji left Changyuan Mountain. The journey was 5,000 miles. He flew on a sword, maintaining an altitude of 100 meters, heading towards Xiang Mountain. After flying for 7 hours, he reached Xiang Mountain. When he arrived at Xiang Mountain, he went to the Green Willow Manor at the foot of the mountain, where he was responsible for receiving guests. But here, he encountered a group of cultivators gathered here, bringing gifts to the door, and setting up a banquet in the manor, as if celebrating something. One after another, cultivators entered the manor, and the manor was quite festive. Xuanji was slightly stunned. He walked up to a passerby and asked, "Dao, what happened?" Danliang sect has passed down an order to confer Qingshu County and B County on Jinlao Zhu. From now on, the cultivators of the two counties will hand over tributes, which will no longer be handed over to Danliang sect, but will be directly collected by Xiang Mountain. In addition, the land, population, minerals, etc. of the two counties are all considered the property of Jinlao Zhu. The passerby said. Xuanji was slightly surprised. The Danliang sect only controls the 12 counties of Chu state. It is generous enough to directly give up the territory of 2 counties. Our Lu family is also a cultivator family in Qingshu County. Xuanji said. Why didn't we know? Why didn't you notify us? Because the Danliang sect has just decided, and the decree has not been issued yet. Some people got the news in advance, brought gifts in advance, and came to celebrate. The passerby said, and left with the gift. Xuanji felt a little sorry. In the Danliang sect, the Lu family lacks powerful people, and some news came late. At this time, the jade pendant in the storage bag made a sound. When the jade pendant was taken out, some words appeared on it, saying, Danliang sect Qingshu and B counties, presented to Jinlao Zhu. I couldn't help but be shocked, and the world was about to change. In the eyes of everyone, what they see is only the part of the iceberg above the water. There are also parts under the water, and the part of the iceberg has not been seen yet. On the surface, it seems to be just a problem of the two counties, but behind it is the game of giant and Lao Zhu. The fire at the city gate did not affect the fish in the pond. When the big guys fight, the small guys suffer. Thinking of this, I can only pray secretly. There were 5 female foundation building cultivators at the door, each with a graceful figure and a heroic demeanor, welcoming the guests. The guests presented gifts, and were led into the manor by maids. Xuanji also presented gifts, and said his name. Lu family, Xuanji. The female cultivator heard the name, and seemed to think of something. Do you have a gold medal with you? Gold medal, is it this? Xuanji seemed to think of something, and took out a gold medal from his storage bag. It was made of gilded and engraved with the 2 words Jinzi. The female cultivator looked at the gold medal and said, "Can I check it?" "Yes," Xuanji said, handing over the gold medal. The female cultivator pointed her finger at the gold medal, and the gold medal immediately emitted a bright light, shining with golden rays of light, which immediately attracted everyone's attention. After 3 moments, the light on the gold medal dissipated. The female cultivator returned the gold medal and said respectfully, "It turns out to be the young master. Come in here." "Young master, I don't deserve it," Xuanji said modestly. In front of a female cultivator at the 8th level of foundation building, he had no place for a young master. The female cultivators all smiled, their soft bodies swaying slightly, and they said with a smile, "Young master, you seem to underestimate the gold medal. The ancestor only gave out 5 gold medals in total, and you just happen to have 1. With the gold medal specially bestowed by the ancestor, you can enjoy the following benefits. First, in the shops under the ancestor, you can enjoy a 30% discount when buying some elixirs, spiritual tools, spiritual objects, etc. The premise is that you come in person with the gold medal, and finally others come with the gold medal, but it is not allowed. Second, holding a gold medal, you can get the protection of the ancestor. As long as you don't cause a disaster, the ancestor can protect you. Third, holding a gold medal, you can ask the ancestor for a condition. This condition cannot be too difficult, and cannot violate the ancestor's principles. The price is that the ancestor will take back the gold medal. Sissy. Many cultivators couldn't help but take a breath of cold air, contributing to global warming. Some people are envious, and some are jealous. Many cultivators wanted to go up and grab the gold medal. but it was just a thought. No one dared to really do it. The female cultivator mentioned 3 benefits, and there was a 4th invisible benefit that she didn't mention, which was to get the favor and connections of the golden ancestor. The favor of a golden ancestor, as long as you don't commit suicide, can be as stable as Mount Tay. So that's how it is, but I didn't know it. Xuanji said. There are some things that the ancestor won't say, and we, the sword servants, need to point out 1 or 2. The female cultivator said, my name is Xuanji, and I'm one of the sword servants of the ancestor. Unfortunately, the ancestor wanted to accept you as a disciple, but you refused. Otherwise we would be considered a family. Young master, come this way. Led by Xuanji, Xuanji came to a private room. The decoration here is elegant, and the floor is made of white jade, with yellow textures looming. The tables and chairs are made of red spiritual wood, which is grand and elegant, with spiritual arrays carved on them, attracting the flow of spiritual energy from heaven and earth. Sitting on the chair, Xuanji felt his mind become peaceful, and all kinds of irritability disappeared. This is the VIP area, which is specially used to receive some high-level personnel. Here are spiritual wines, which exude charm, and have a long-lasting fragrance, spiritual fruits, which have a strong spiritual energy and a hint of fragrance. Surprisingly, there is only Xuanji here. Xuanji personally poured the spiritual wine, and entertained him warmly. This enthusiasm surprised and stunned Xuanji, but he also smiled bitterly in his heart. Just based on Xuanji's enthusiasm, the Lu family is on the side of the Jin patriarch. Seeing Xuanji being warmly entertained, the cultivators outside had different thoughts. Some were envious and jealous, but some were boiling with murderous intent. At a table, 4 cultivators sat upright. On the table, there were spiritual peaches, spiritual wine, spiritual tea, etc. But everyone had no intention of tasting them, but were curious about the scene. What do you think of Xuanji? Asked the Wu family cultivator. About 17 years ago, 2 cultivators of the Lu family entered the foundation building stage. A great banquet was held for the whole world. Among them was Xuanji. Now, only 13 years have passed, and he has entered the 2nd level of foundation building. His aptitude is pretty good. The cultivator next to him was named Ningyuan, and he talked about what happened back then. After the foundation is built, the speed of cultivation will slow down. It is considered fast to advance 1 level every 13 years. If you encounter a worse one, it may take 20 years to advance 1 level, or 30 years to advance 1 level. If you encounter a bottleneck, you may stop moving forward for the rest of your life. Chapter 78 Yuzu becomes a disciple. Xuanji has good aptitude, but he is much inferior to those with 2nd spiritual roots, special spiritual roots, and heavenly spiritual roots. How could he be favored by Patriarch Jin? The cultivator surnamed Wu asked curiously. I don't know about this either. It is said that he was lucky and passed the 3rd test of Patriarch Jin. Ningyuan said leisurely, talking about the 3 tests at that time. The 1st level tested the purity of the true essence, the 2nd level tested the understanding, and the 3rd level tested luck. So that's how it is. Maybe Patriarch Jin occupied Xiang Mountain and owed the Lu family karma, so he paid it back. The cultivator surnamed Wu shook his head and gave reason. Maybe so. Cultivator Ning Crossing said, but if Ancestor Jin wanted to open up a sacred mountain, he could do it anywhere. Why did he choose Xiang Mountain? Xiang Mountain is lucky, and the Lu family is lucky. A mountain is not famous for its height, but for the immortals. A river is not deep, but for the dragons. Because of Ancestor Jin's existence, the spiritual vein of Xiang Mountain has been upgraded from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade. If it had relied on the Lu family for hundreds of years, it would not have been possible. Cultivator Wu said, the Lu family is lucky. That's right. Ningyuan said, but the Lu family can only stand on the side of Ancestor Jin. It is said that Ancestor Jin had some conflicts with the ancestor of the main sect, so he left the main sect and went to Qingshu County and Xiang Mountain. Stop. Cultivator Wu immediately said in shock, Golden Dan ancestor, is it something we can discuss? Stop talking. Ningyuan also thought of something and subconsciously closed his mouth with a slightly panicked look on his face. Golden Dan ancestor, is it something they can discuss casually? If Golden Dan ancestor gets angry and kills them directly, they deserve to die. The Lu family is going to be lucky. The monk surnamed Wu drank the spiritual wine, and a trace of bitterness flashed in his eyes. Originally, the head of the family planned to take action against the Lu family, but he could not do so, because he was afraid of the Jin patriarch. In the VIP room, Xuanji picked up the wine glass, and the spiritual wine exuded a hint of spiritual charm, and a faint fragrance came. He picked up the wine glass, and drank the spiritual wine in one gulp. Suddenly, he felt that his spirit became active, and his whole body had an indescribable sense of comfort. Every pore was cheering, and even his soul seemed to be baptized, wiping off the dust on it, becoming clear and bright. Liu Hangai sat opposite, her slender body set off her perfect curves. Her beautiful eyes were bright and colorful, and the corners of her mouth were slightly raised, saying, "This wine is called soul cleansing wine, which can wash away the impurities of the soul, making the soul more pure and the perception more acute. How do you feel, fellow Taoist?" "It tastes great," Xuanji said. "Drinking 1 or 2 cups occasionally is not very useful, and the improvement is limited. But if you drink the soul cleansing wine every day, you can improve the strength of your soul and even slightly improve your qualifications." Liu Hangai said, "If you become a disciple of the ancestor, you can drink the soul cleansing wine every day." Xuanji smiled, but did not answer, but took another sip from the river and said, "Last night, my Lu family was attacked by the demon cultivators, and it was also thanks to the intervention of the ancestor Jin. Otherwise, the news that Dao Yao heard today was the news that the Lu family was exterminated." As he said that, he took out the storage bag, handing it over. "These are all the relics of the demon cultivators." Liu Hangai took the storage bag, just glanced at it, and said, "Dao Yao, wait a moment, I will go to report to the master." As he said that, he turned and left. Whoosh! On the top of Xiang Mountain, there is a garden. In the garden, spiritual flowers gathered, red and blue mixed, exuding a faint fragrance, fragrant and deep, elegant, and calm. Among the flowers, there was a woman in a white dress, lying lazily on a rattan chair, as if she was sleeping. The purple clouds in the sky turned into flowing water, flowing down, entering her skin all over her body, and slowly refining. Outside the garden, there were 4 maids standing on both sides, wearing clean and neat light blue and white sword robes, with 3-foot green swords on their backs, like sculptures, perfectly blending with the surrounding environment, indistinguishable from each other. Let the butterflies land on their heads, but they did not move. At this time, a woman in white palace clothes and a graceful figure came over. It was Liu Hangai. When she walked to the gate of the garden, she stopped and waited patiently. About half an hour later, a voice came. Liu Hangai walked into the garden. At this moment, the old ancestor Jin was like an ordinary woman, watering the spiritual flowers. "My lord, there is no news from the Danliang sect yet, but there are already hundreds of cultivators who have come to celebrate in advance." Liu Hangai said respectfully, as humble as a maid. "Got it," Ancestor Jin said calmly. He had already watered the spiritual flowers, and started to hoe the ground with a hoe to loosen the soil. "Ancestor, the Lu family cultivator, Xuanji, has come to thank you for saving his life, and also gave you a storage bag for the magic cultivator." Liu Hangai said as she handed over the storage bag. Ancestor Jin took the storage bag and just glanced at it briefly, before throwing it aside like trash. "Got it. Hangai, take your leave." Liu Hangai said as she bowed and left. A terrifying aura came from the void, and at the same time a voice came. "Many elders of Danliang sect have decided to give Qingshu County and Beichan County to Ancestor Jinzi." The voice spread to all directions, and all the cultivators within a radius of 10 miles heard it. They looked up, and saw a woman in palace clothes standing in the void 500 meters above the sky. She had a graceful figure, a cloud-like hair bun, a red plum mark on her forehead, a beautiful face, skin as white as snow, and a pair of round and proud weapons on her chest. Her posture was elegant and moving. There were colorful white clouds floating under her feet, and she held a decree in her hands, as if an immortal had descended. "Damn it, he actually gave it to me." Liu Hangai listened. Her eyes suddenly turned red, her chest rose slightly, and her sword energy rose up, about to turn into murderous aura. The master is the giant and ancestor, who is qualified to use the word give. Long Xuan, go. Ancestor Jin spoke. At this moment, Long Xuan flew into the sky, wearing a white sword outfit, with sword energy surging all over her body, like a living sword. Endless sword power, like mountains and seas, continuously rushed over. One sword suppressed the universe. One sword destroyed all laws. Sister, you are so capable. The woman in palace dress opposite smiled, and a trace of faint pressure was also counterattacked, and the icy pressure came to shock. Swish, swish. The sword power and the icy power collided with each other. Although there was no confrontation, the spiritual energy around them was violently fluctuating, as if a breeze was urging them. After 3 moments of confrontation, Long Xuan took 3 steps back, her chest heaving slightly. The woman in palace dress opposite only took 2 steps back, and threw the decree over with a trembling hand. Thank you, Daniyang sect has given me 2 counties. Long Xuan took the decree and said, suppressing her anger. One is a gift, the other is a gift. The difference between them is huge. Junior sister Yizu, since you are at Xiang Mountain, go and pay homage to the ancestor. Long Xuan said. Of course. Yizu nodded and agreed. The colorful clouds under her feet disappeared, and she followed Long Xuan into the Daniyang sect. The 2 girls entered Xiang Mountain and later entered the top of the mountain. When they entered the garden, they saw that Patriarch Jin was still hoeing the ground and combing the land. Long Xuan, leave. Patriarch Jin said. Yes. Long Xuan left. Only Yizu was left. I already know why you came. I'm not suitable for you. Leave. Patriarch Jin put down the hoe and said calmly. Patriarch Jin, I'm willing to worship you as my master. At this time, Yizu no longer had the arrogance and pride just now, and said respectfully, I have ice spiritual roots. I detected my spiritual roots at the age of 6, started practicing Taoism at the age of 8, built my foundation at the age of 30, reached the purple mansion at the age of 80, and reached the 9th level of the purple mansion at the age of 240. Now I have a success rate of 5 levels in my attempt to attack the golden elixir. In true state, I'm worthy of the name of Xuanji, and I'm also a sword cultivator. I'm willing to worship you as my master. Chapter 79 Unconvinced. In the garden, hundreds of flowers are in full bloom. Yizu spoke in a clear voice. But Jin Liaozu was silent for a moment and said, you and I are not destined to be together. Why not? Yizu asked unwillingly. No fate, that's it. You may become a golden elixir or even a Yuanying in the future, but that's not enough. We are not destined to be together. Jin Liaozu said calmly. Yizu asked unconvincedly, I heard that the ancestor is willing to accept a foundation building cultivator with 3 spiritual roots as a disciple. Why not me as a disciple? I have investigated that person. His aptitude is very ordinary. He only has 3 spiritual roots. His bone age is already 63 years old, but he is only at the 2nd level of foundation building. It is very poor. The probability of becoming a purple mansion in the future is less than 1 level, and the probability of becoming a golden elixir is less than 1%. How can he be qualified to be the disciple of the senior? Ancestor Jin said, this is my reason. It is nothing to train a top genius into a golden elixir cultivator, but it is a great achievement to train an ordinary cultivator to become a golden elixir cultivator or a Yuanying cultivator in a few days. I accept disciples based on aptitude, but it depends more on fate. Yizu was a little unwilling, but she still left. Ridiculous. Looking at the female cultivator who left, Ancestor Jin shook his head. Drinking spiritual wine and eating spiritual fruits, Xuanji felt that his cultivation was steadily improving. This improvement was not significant, but after taking it for a long time, his cultivation was steadily improving. Sure enough, eating spiritual fruits and spiritual wine is the right way. As for taking elixirs, it is a side path. Xuanji thought, while eating spiritual fruits. Eating a spiritual fruit will not allow a cultivator to instantly improve a small realm, but will turn into gentle spiritual energy and be absorbed by the body. If you take spiritual fruits for a long time, your cultivation will steadily improve. In the Xuan Mountains, many monsters do not know how to make elixirs. They mainly cultivate spiritual medicines. When the spiritual medicines grow up, they swallow them raw, and their growth rate is not worse than that of humans. After humans encounter spiritual medicines, they are used to refining them directly into elixirs. The medicinal properties in the elixir are concentrated. Taking them will certainly improve your cultivation, but because the medicinal power is too strong, it will cause certain damage to the meridians in the body. It will also cause elixir poison to precipitate. Click. At this moment, the door opened, and a woman walked in. She was wearing a palace skirt made of silver, with a round collar inlaid with gold edges, and dotted with stars on the skirt. When she walked, she was shining and colorful, as if the galaxy was surrounded by her. She was very tall, her proud figure was looming, and she exuded a noble aura. She was born in a wealthy family. She had a veil on her face, so her true face could not be seen, but her deep eyes had a suffocating charm. This was a stunning beauty. As long as she waved her hand, countless licking dogs would come to her door. Her licking dogs could line up from the south to the north of the city. The female cultivator came up and looked at her. Her eyes were like looking at monkeys in the zoo, and after a moment, a cold and soft voice sounded, "Dao, can I sit here?" "Whatever," Lu Xuanji said, and directly gave up the seat and continued to drink the spirit wine. The corner of his eye observed for a moment, and then converged the light. The second generation of cultivators can't be provoked. At this time, the female cultivator sat next to him, less than 3 feet away from him. Lu Xuanji frowned slightly. The distance was too close, and he was a little uncomfortable. A faint fragrance came, with a charming and intoxicating effect. The female cultivator asked, "Daoist friend, do you have a Taoist partner?" Lu Xuanji subconsciously said, "Yes." The female cultivator asked again, "Why did you refuse to be accepted as a disciple by Jin Laozu?" Lu Xuanji subconsciously answered, "Because I don't want to kneel down to a woman." But at the moment of answering, he subconsciously shuddered. He was just silently hypnotized and said what was in his heart. He looked at the female cultivator again and said angrily, "Senior is the Purple Mansion Patriarch. Why do you want to tease a junior like me?" It is impossible for ordinary cultivators to hypnotize a foundation building cultivator silently. But it is not difficult for the Purple Mansion Patriarch. "Daoist friend, are you the Killin son of the Lu family?" Lu Xuanji, the female cultivator asked with a smile. "You are not a Killin son, you are just lucky," Lu Xuanji said cautiously. "You are indeed lucky. I wanted to worship Jin Laozu as my master, but Jin Laozu refused. The ancestor wanted to accept you as a disciple, but you refused." The female cultivator said, "In other aspects, you are not as good as me, but in terms of luck, I'm not as good as you." Lu Xuanji was silent, thinking about it. The female cultivator said, "In Qingshu County, the Yi family and the Wu family have intermarried many times and have a deep friendship. I want to match you up with my little Taoist friend. There is a famous lady in the Yi family who is of similar age to you and is suitable for marriage." Lu Xuanji felt a little overwhelmed. "Senior, I already have a Taoist partner. It doesn't matter. For a man in the world, having 3 wives and 4 concubines is nothing. Only those cultivators who follow the path of ruthlessness, the path of cruelty, and the path of supremeness don't care about love between men and women. As for our family, cultivators need to marry more wives and concubines, accept more Taoist partners, and pass on the family. Otherwise, the family will be sparsely populated, and how can it prosper?" The female cultivator said, "You can't make the decision on these things. I'll let Yi Liuan mediate later." Lu Xuanji felt uneasy and said, "Senior, how should I address you? How should I address the head of the Yi family?" The female cultivator said, "I'm from the main branch of the Yi family, and my name is Yizu. Yi Liuan should call me little aunt." Back then, Yi Liuan was able to break through to the Purple Mansion realm thanks to the convenience provided by our main branch. Yi Liuan must be willing to marry into the Lu family. Lu Xuanji listened, and some information about the Yi family flashed through his mind. In the Danliang sect, the Yi family has a main branch and 7 branches. The main branch has a giant and ancestor in charge, and there are 9 Purple Mansion cultivators. The 7 branches are separated from the main branch, and all of them have Purple Mansion masters in charge. The main branch has a close relationship with the branches, and the main branch also supports the branches. Yizu seems to be a Purple Mansion ancestor of the main branch, and seems to have a great influence. This senior, I'm just a mere 3 spiritual roots, and only a mere 3rd level of foundation building. It doesn't seem worth the senior's trouble. Xuanji said. You are indeed not worthy, but Patriarch Jin values you. I have observed you for a long time, but I can't see anything special about you. You are very ordinary, but I think Patriarch Jin's vision is not bad. I think there is something special about you. Yizu said, looking up and down at Xuanji, shaking her head and said, just think of it as an investment. If you enter the purple mansion in the future, my Yi family will make a profit. If you are just like everyone else, my Yi family will not suffer much loss. I appreciate your kindness, senior. Xuanji said, but I still want to become a purple mansion cultivator. I don't want to break my pure yang body for the time being, and I don't want to get involved in love entanglements between men and women. Who has time to talk about love with you? Talking about love is too harmful to interests. Here we only talk about personal interests and family interests, not feelings. Yizu said indifferently, and began to calculate some interest entanglements. The situation of the Lu family is not good. The Wu family is eyeing your Lu family. Even some people in the Yi family have bad intentions towards the Lu family. Xuanji frowned and said, the rules of the Danliang sect are still there. They dare not take action. Rules are not omnipotent. They can take action against the Lu family within the scope of the rules. Yizu said, the strong don't need a knife to kill. Yizu said, stood up, and disappeared. Xuanji had a slight toothache. I don't know how to comment. Chapter 80, The Right Path and the Unorthodox Way. The banquet continued, and guests arrived one after another. In the garden, Liu Hongyi talked about the marriage between the Lu family and the Yi family. When Jin Liuzu heard this, he couldn't help but laugh. Yizu, this girl, is she really meddling in other people's affairs? Ancestor, should we intervene? Liu Hongyi asked. No need. Jin Liuzu said, it's just a child's play. We don't need to get involved. Tell the outsiders that I will preach in half an hour. Liu Hongyi was surprised and went down to inform everyone. The ancestor has been preaching a little too frequently recently, but this is a good thing. Half an hour later, in the square, many cultivators sat cross-legged on the ground, waiting quietly and orderly. Even the arrogant and domineering ones were as quiet as sheep. They were sorted according to their cultivation level. The purple mansion cultivators were in the front, the foundation establishment cultivators were next, and the key training realm cultivators were at the end, all in an orderly and quiet manner. A breeze flashed, and Patriarch Jin sat upright on the high platform, looking down at everyone, and said, this time, I will talk about the methods of the right way, the methods of the side door, and the techniques of the left way. The right way is to prove the truth. The 9 levels of key training polish the foundation, the 9 levels of foundation building expand the danshan, and the 9 levels of purple mansion strengthen the soul. Only after experiencing 3 disasters and 9 difficulties can you be free and ask for a flawless golden elixir. Once a golden elixir is swallowed into the stomach, my life will be determined by myself from now on. This is the supreme right way and the bright road to becoming an immortal. Refining tools, refining elixirs, making talismans, array formations, etc. are all methods of the side door. The methods of the side door can make money to support the family and improve combat effectiveness, but they cannot make you immortal, so they are methods of the side door. Raising goo, refining corpses, controlling ghosts, possessing bodies, puppets, blood, curses, etc. are all unorthodox techniques that can improve combat effectiveness, but they will be entangled with karma, which will be hated by the gods and ghosts. The gods will inevitably send down thunder disasters to destroy them. In ancient times, there was a sect called Ggo. 10,000 immortals came to pay homage to it. There were many disciples and followers, and many of them were highly skilled. However, most of the disciples practiced unorthodox techniques and were entangled with karma. In the end, they were destroyed by the Changio. It seems that Ggo was destroyed by Changio, but in fact it was destroyed by the way of heaven. If the way of heaven wants to destroy you, who can survive? Ancestor Jin opened his mouth and talked about his understanding of the 3 ways of the right way, the side door, and the left way. Every word is a pearl, and every sentence is mysterious. On the surface, he is talking about the difference between the three, but in fact he is talking about the future of the cultivators. The right way has extremely high requirements for qualifications, understanding, resources, and Taoism, and is suitable for geniuses. The side door method has lower requirements for qualifications and understanding, and is suitable for ordinary geniuses. The unorthodox techniques are suitable for losers. After listening to this, Xuanji suddenly understood. I have poor aptitude and average comprehension. I can only seek the right path by following the unorthodox methods. If one has extraordinary aptitude and talent, one can follow the great path, the bright path, and seek immortality. But if one has poor aptitude, and is not good enough to follow the right path, one must follow the unorthodox methods. With the help of unorthodox methods, one can complete the initial primitive accumulation, and strive to enter the golden elixir before the lifespan is exhausted. After entering the golden elixir, one can try to abandon the unorthodox methods, and follow the right path. This is called putting down the butcher knife, and becoming a Buddha on the spot. After a while, the old ancestor Jin finished his sermon and asked, "Do you have any questions?" A key training cultivator took the lead and said, "Old ancestor, is it really difficult for cultivators with 5 spiritual roots to build a foundation?" When this cultivator asked, everyone present was angry, especially the few Purple Mansion cultivators. The Purple Mansion cultivators haven't spoken yet, so what does it mean for you to speak? Patriarch Jin nodded and waved his hand, signaling everyone not to blame him, but asked, "What's your name, fellow Taoist?" "Junior, Ning Bufan." The Kigan cultivator said respectfully. A cultivator should have a heart that stands tall and proud. If you are afraid, your future will be limited. You have no fear in your heart, but you are a good material for cultivating immortals. Patriarch Jin praised. Countless cultivators had different expressions. Some looked surprised, some were envious, and some were jealous. What surprised them was that Patriarch Jin, who was always indifferent, would actually praise a junior. To cultivate to the 9th level of key training, it takes 10 to 20 years for the heavenly spiritual root, 20 to 30 years for the second spiritual root, 40 to 50 years for the third spiritual root, 80 to 100 years for the fourth spiritual root, and at least 200 years for the fifth spiritual root. However, the lifespan of a cultivator in the key training period is less than 120 years. It is difficult for cultivators with 5 or 4 spiritual roots to establish a foundation without a great opportunity. After establishing a foundation, to cultivate to the 9th level of foundation building, it only takes 40 years for the heavenly spiritual root, 100 years for the second spiritual root, 200 years for the third spiritual root, 400 years for the fourth spiritual root, and 1000 years for the fifth spiritual root. However, the lifespan of a cultivator in the foundation building period is only 240 years. I won't talk about the fifth and fourth spiritual roots. The probability of becoming a Purple Mansion cultivator with a third spiritual root is only 1 in 10. After listening to these data, many cultivators suddenly realized. Ancestor Jin spoke up and said, "You ask me if 5 spiritual roots can be used to establish a foundation." I said yes. Ning Bufan was excited. Patriarch Jin continued, "As long as your father is a Yuanying Zenjin, as long as he is willing to spend a lot of effort, even if the 5 spiritual roots are poor, he can become a Purple Mansion cultivator." Ning Bufan just smiled bitterly. Patriarch Jin continued, "There is another way. When you go out, if you encounter a cliff, just jump down. You may get the treasure of the predecessors in the next moment. If you don't break your legs, then continue to look for cliffs, and continue to jump down. As long as you get a chance, the 5 spiritual roots can also become a giant and patriarch, a Yuanying Zenjin, and become an immortal." Everyone couldn't bear it anymore and laughed immediately. Let everyone laugh, and when everyone had laughed enough, Patriarch Jin said, "On the road of cultivation, the first thing is aptitude. As long as the spiritual roots are good, the future will be bright. Even if the aptitude is not good, with a good father and a top background, you can also become a strong person. If the aptitude is not good, and the background is not good, then you need luck and adventure. Every Purple Mansion cultivator has adventures and opportunities. As for those Chindan cultivators, they will have more and greater opportunities and adventures. It is almost impossible to become a Jiandan, or even a Yuanying, just by relying on seclusion and hard training, and farming at home. The atmosphere was a little depressing as everyone listened. Patriarch Jin said, "Little Taoist friend, you only have 5 spiritual roots and your future is limited, but don't despair. If you want to achieve something, there are 2 ways to go. One is to learn a skill, and accumulate spiritual stones with this skill. For example, some people have poor spiritual roots and aptitude, but they are 3rd grade spiritual plants, and can ripen spiritual medicines and speed up their growth. I'm willing to pay a high price to make him a purple mansion cultivator. One is to walk more outside. You may encounter adventures and change your destiny." Ning Bufan bowed and said, "Thank you for your guidance, ancestor." After this person withdrew, cultivators continued to ask questions, and Patriarch Jin responded. After a while, a cultivator asked, "May I ask, ancestor, is the devil's way the right way?" Chapter 81 The Demon Cultivator Attacks. With this question, some people were panicked. Hearing this, Jin Liaozu frowned slightly and said, "The devil's way is also the right way." Everyone was shocked, only to hear the old man Jin continue to say, "The devil's way is also the right way, but most people's devil's way is wrong." What is the devil's way? The devil's way is not about killing and arson, nor is it about doing all kinds of evil, but it is a kind of paranoia. As the saying goes, if I hold the devil, there will be no immortals in the world. If I hold the sky, there will be no devils in the world. The real supreme devil can hold a magic knife and kill all the immortals, so that there will be no immortals in the world. But when he is in charge of the way of heaven, he holds a butcher knife and kills all the demons to make the world peaceful. As for some people, they get some magic tricks, and they think they are all powerful, but they don't know that they are just jumping clowns. The monk asked again, "Put down the butcher knife and become a Buddha on the spot. Does it mean that, as long as the bad guys repent, they can become Buddhas?" Who said that? It's impossible. Not everyone is qualified to put down the butcher knife. A mere little devil is not qualified to put down the butcher knife at all, and will only be hacked to death. Only the legendary supreme devil, who cannot be defeated by the immortal emperor and the Buddha, is qualified to put down the butcher knife. Ancestor Jin smiled faintly and said, "To be an official, there is nothing wrong with killing people and setting fires to receive the imperial amnesty. But the premise is to survive the previous waves of encirclement and suppression by the imperial court. If you are easily destroyed, what qualifications do you have to receive the imperial amnesty?" The monk said, "Ancestor, what you said makes sense, but I also want to give you a gift." At this moment, the qualified monk's eyes turned blood red, and with the change of his eyes, his body was constantly expanding, as if a bomb was about to explode. No, this demon cultivator is going to self-destruct. This is the great technique of the devil's self-sacrifice. Damn, the demon cultivator is attacking. At this moment, the body of this demon cultivator exploded, like a bomb, sweeping around. The wave of destruction swept in all directions, drowning everything. The scene was in a mess. 10 monks were injured nearby, and 3 monks were injured by the explosion. As for the people affected, there were dozens of people. At the critical moment, some monks opened the True Essence shield, or took out magic weapons to defend, which slowed down the impact of the wave. The self-destruction caused limited casualties. But soon, a monk discovered that drops of blood were scattered all around during the explosion, emitting black and red colors that corroded the robes and shields, and stained the skin, disfiguring it on the spot. The monks screamed, "This is blood poison. This is a blood poison refined by the Jiandan monks. It's so poisonous. Ah, I don't want to die. This is the blood poison of the blood-changing witch." The monks present screamed and struggled, and the scene was extremely miserable. "Longzuan!" The Jin patriarch shouted. Longzuan was dispatched, her graceful body flashing, and a green wooden sword appeared in her hand. The wooden sword stabbed continuously in the void. Puff, puff. The wooden sword stabbed a monk's body, and the monk was horrified. The next moment, he felt that the toxins in his body were sucked away. Swish. Like a dragonfly skimming the water, it stabbed several monks stained with blood poison continuously, and the blood poison was immediately sucked away by the wooden sword. Everyone said gratefully, "Thank you, Senior Longzuan. Thank you, Patriarch Jin." but Patriarch Jin ignored them and waited patiently. Boom boom boom. At this moment, there was an explosion in the void. The breath of destruction was fluctuating, the spiritual energy was violently agitated, and a blood-colored light appeared in the east, gathering into a blood-colored cloud standing in the west, and waves of terrifying evil spirits swept over and crushed. On the blood-colored cloud, stood a woman in red. The red dress was like blood, and on the blood-colored palace dress, there were black flowers of the other shore, sad and cold, like a dirge from hell. Under the blood-colored dress, there was a graceful body, convex and curved, looking beautiful and moving, the skin as white as snow, blooming with a white jade-like light. With a veil on her face, her true face could not be seen clearly, only a blood-colored lotus was at the center of her eyebrows. The slender legs and plump breasts were charming in their charm. But there was a terrifying murderous aura on her body, like a female Shura in the sea of blood, which made people feel depressed. She is the blood transformed witch, number 1 on the hunting list. A purple mansion monk said in horror. Boom boom boom. At this moment, in the west, a huge palace of bones appeared, with thick and terrifying bones. A scholar in white appeared above the palace. His face was slightly pale, as if he was malnourished, holding a folding fan in his hand. The folding fan was shaking gently, showing the white skeletons on it, undulating and flashing. Along with the white skeletons, undulating up and down, a trace of death air permeated the surroundings. Within a radius of 10 miles, there was a breath of death, and the breath of death turned into waves, and swept towards the formation of Xiang Mountain. The formation collided with the death aura, making a hissing sound. The formation was eroded, and some formation runes were broken one after another. But at this moment, the purple light flashed, repairing the formation abruptly, and suddenly the purple sky fire burned in, and the grey death energy seemed to encounter a nemesis, and dissipated with a hissing sound. Woo woo woo. At this moment, in the south, the ground was crackling, and the grey mist was flashing. A man in a black robe appeared in the south. He did not fly high in the sky, but walked on the road with his feet on the ground. But every step he took was 100 meters away. He held a large black banner in his hand, with a 1.5 meter vertical pole and a half-meter long banner, on which strange runes were engraved. Where his footsteps landed, there was a surge of grey corpse gas. The weeds on the ground came into contact with the corpse gas, and were immediately corroded, withered, and died. The second on the wanted list, the White Bone Demon Lord. The third on the wanted list, the Black Corpse Demon Lord. A monk exclaimed. Later, the crowd was in a violent commotion, and after the commotion, there was fear and uneasiness. The blood transforming witch, the White Bone Demon Lord, the Black Corpse Grinding Lord, etc. are the 3 great demons of the Chu state. They have committed heinous crimes, leaving countless corpses, and killing countless people, but they are still free and at ease. Among them, there are many Jinden cultivators who came to chase and kill them, but the 3 of them escaped. They are so arrogant, because they rely on their Jinden stage cultivation. The demon cultivators make rapid progress in the early stage, but when they impact the Jinden stage, the heavenly tribulation is extremely fierce, far surpassing the immortal cultivators. But many demon cultivators fall under the Jinden heavenly tribulation. But once the demon cultivators survive the Jinden heavenly tribulation, their combat power is also extremely terrifying, far surpassing the immortal cultivators. Jinzi, today is your death day. We have blocked Xiang Mountain, and the news has been cut off. No news can be passed on. The secrets of heaven have been obscured, and the secrets here are in chaos. At least no one will find the abnormality here for half an hour. The blood transforming witch said, murderous, I will make Xiang Mountain a river of blood. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82, Fighting the Demon Cultivator. Along with the magic sound of the blood-changing witch, a blood-colored river rushed towards Xiang Mountain, wanting to smash everything and wipe out everything. Boom boom boom. At this moment, Xiang Mountain was trembling, as if a giant beast was awakening, and it was emitting a trace of terrifying pressure. The 6 nearby peaks were also trembling, and the killing array buried in the mountains was slowly activated. The 7 peaks were connected to each other, and the spiritual energy in the underground spiritual veins was extracted and circulated in the large array. Sizzle. Sizzle. A purple light film rose up, presenting a semicircular shape, like an inverted bowl, resisting the incoming blood-colored river. At this moment, accompanied by a sword sound, a huge picture of a battle appeared in the void. The picture had a woman with a soft figure, long hair like silk, and white clouds under her feet. The whole person seemed ethereal and illusory, and seemed unreal. Around the picture, 99 swords appeared, with bright sword edges, like autumn water and thunder. Kai kai. With a violent sound, the scroll was running, and the power of the 99 swords was expanding, sweeping around like water waves, spreading to a 10-mile area. In an instant, the swords were densely packed, like a strong wind sweeping in, drowning the blood-changing witch. The blood-changing witch let out a long howl, like the Shura of hell descending. Riding the blood-colored river, it turned into a rolling wave, and swept towards the sword formation. The blood river and the sword collided with each other, and the magic power was eroding each other, like a confrontation between water and fire. It depends on who can hold on longer. The blood river is filthy, and corroding the magic weapon. The blood-changing witch held the seal in her hand. As the seal changed, the blood river was rolling, and the evil spirit, the spirit of destruction, the spirit of death, the spirit of destruction, the spirit of absolute killing, the spirit of sinking, etc. inside all burst out, and corroded the 99 flying swords. The blood river was filled with filth, which was specifically designed to corrode, and break the restrictions in the magic weapon. The scroll was running, and the 99 flying swords were also changing their formations, absorbing the power of the blood river, and tempering the swords. In less than 3 breaths of fighting, the blood river was greatly reduced. The sword formation was running, and the 99 swords seemed to be in a mess, but they formed a terrifying sword formation, which enveloped the blood-changing witch, and one sword after another stabbed at her graceful and beautiful body. Blood river changes. The blood-changing witch urged the blood river, and the blood river was shrinking and changing, and finally turned into a set of armor attached to her body. The armor was blood-colored, and there was a blood-colored lotus in the center of the armor. Swish. The blood-changing witch stepped on the void, and her footsteps were making violent sounds, like the roar of a war drum, making a buzzing sound. The body surged, as if magma was rolling, and the spirit rose up. It was like a female war god punching the flying sword. The flying sword could not withstand the intense force and broke. But the next moment, another flying sword came to stab. Bang! Another flying sword was blown up with a punch. But at this moment, another flying sword stabbed, one after another, faster than the other. They stabbed one after another. Continuous killing. But the blood-changing witch was also very fierce, punching one after another, smashing the flying sword. One after another, the flying swords were broken. But the broken flying swords recovered quickly and stabbed again. The flying swords were constantly collapsing, but they were constantly recovering. It seemed to be continuous, and trapped in it. Kill. At this moment, the white bone demon lord shouted, and drove the White House palace to hit the formation, and the formation was shaking violently. Under the violent impact, the formation of Xiang Mountain was almost broken. The White Palace was hit by the backlash, and was also retreating. Jinzi, I'm short of a jade corpse, so I'll use your corpse as a specimen. The Black Corpse Demon Lord sneered, and the corpse control banner in his hand kept growing larger and larger, turning into a size of 10 feet, and rushed down with great force. Boom boom boom. It hit the formation, and the purple light flashed, and the energy of the formation was consumed violently. The 3 giant and demon cultivators each used their own methods to attack Xiang Mountain violently, consuming the energy of the formation. The formation was shaking violently, shaky, and seemed to be broken at any time. It seemed that the next moment, it would be smashed to pieces. It's over. We are going to die. These are 3 giant and demon cultivators. Although the Jin Patriarch is powerful, how can he fight 1 against 3? When we reach the Giandan realm, who is worse than who? It's a pity that the outside is blocked, and we can't spread the news. Haha, we are going to die here. Xiang Mountain is unlucky. The Lu family was destroyed decades ago, and now they are going to be destroyed again. Suddenly, the cultivators on Ziyang Mountain were panicking, fearful, and uneasy. Some cultivators tried to pass on the message, using flying swords to send letters, but they fell to the ground. When they flew outside, some cultivators activated the sound transmission talisman to pass on the message, but it was blocked. Various ways of passing on messages to the outside world failed one after another. Later, they fell into panic. What are you afraid of? The ancestor is in charge of everything. At this moment, Long Xuan's terrifying aura spread, and her voice spread in all directions. If the ancestor dies, you don't have to think about living. At that time, death is actually a luxury. Falling into the hands of the 3 demon cultivators, becoming blood food is actually the best ending. I'm afraid that the corpse will be refined into a zombie, or become the nutrient of the white bone relics. Listen to my orders. Form a battle formation. You can fight against 1 or 2 giant and cultivators. Even if you can't win, you can also contain 1 or 2 enemies. If there are those who disobey, I will kill them. Long Xuan began to order everyone and arrange the battle formation. The battle formation is just a simplest war, with limited power and serious lack of combat effectiveness. But this is better than being slaughtered by giant and cultivators like a group of scattered sand. At least before dying, you can struggle and resist, and die more decently. Of course, we will obey Sister Long's arrangements. Yizu said. Of course, if you want to kill us, you will always have to pay a price. Another 2nd generation cultivator spoke. The demon cultivators are coming. We should stick together and fight the crisis together. Another purple mansion cultivator spoke. No matter how unruly they were, they chose to remain silent. Even the 2nd generation cultivators with deep backgrounds chose to listen to Long Xuan. In normal times, if they contradicted Lord Long Xuan, he would still reason with them and convince them with reason. Now that the demon cultivators were coming, if they stood up to them, they would deserve to be chopped off. Even if they died, they would not be able to rest in peace, as they would be charged with colluding with the demon cultivators. Chapter 83, Ancestor Jin's Tyranny. Boom boom boom. The 3 demon cultivators attacked Ziyang Mountain, and Ziyang Mountain was shaky, and it seemed that in an instant, Ziyang Mountain would break open. At this moment, Jin Liaozu revealed his true form, and with his footsteps flashing, he had already left the mountain protection formation, and arrived outside the formation. Many cultivators were stunned for a moment. Shouldn't Jin Liaozu rely on the mountain and river formation to resist the 3 demon cultivators, and wait for rescue? Why did he go outside the formation, abandon his advantages, and use his own weaknesses to attack the enemy's strengths? Standing outside the formation, under Jin Liaozu's call, the Sunu sword formation was immediately put away, and the blood transformation which escaped. Swish. The White Bone Demon Lord and the Black Corpse Demon Lord, who were originally attacking the formation, put away their attacks, and the 2 leaned together. The blood transformation which also approached, standing on the left of the White Bone Demon Lord, looking at Jin Liaozu with a serious expression. The 2 sides stood in the void, staring at each other, less than a kilometer away. Jin Liaozu said, 3 little demons, retreat. You are not yet my opponent, because you have not yet mastered the magic skills. Blood transformed witch, you have the best qualifications, and can be expected to become a nascent soul in the future. It's a pity that your immortal demon body has only condensed 3 layers, and is still very weak, not worthy of being my opponent. White Bone Demon Lord, you have only comprehended the superficial aspects of the innate White Bone way, but have not been able to comprehend the essence. You have only comprehended the essence of death, but have not been able to understand the way of vitality. The golden elixir is your end. Black Corpse Demon Lord, a useless thing, is obsessed with killing, but does not know that killing is not the goal, but only the means. You mistake the means for the goal. Do not distinguish between cause and effect. Do not understand the karma, and your fate is over. He commented and pointed out the mountains and rivers. It was like a senior teaching a few useless juniors. White Bone Demon Lord snorted. At the moment, when I'm proving the way, you are still a useless kid, looking for death. Jin Liaozu spoke, stretched out his hand and grabbed, and his 5 fingers formed a mountain. The 5 fingers were like 5 sharp swords, slashing in the air. Swish, swish. accompanied by the sound of swords. The 5 fingers evolved 5 kinds of sword techniques. Some sword ki was as thick as a mountain. Some sword ki was as continuous as the sea. Some sword ki was as continuous as green grass. Some sword ki was as hot as a raging fire. And some sword ki was as sharp as a lightning. It turned into a palm of 10 feet in size and suppressed it in the air. Great magical power. 5 swords become a mountain. The White Bone Demon Lord sneered and infused his magic power into the White Bone Palace. Suddenly, the array patterns on the White Bone Palace were activated, and grey lights flashed. The palace was constantly getting bigger, and turned into a size of 100 feet, constantly rotating to resist the void. Bang! 5 swords become a mountain, and collided with the White Bone Palace. The magical powers of both sides were clashing, but in the instant of confrontation, the White Bone Palace let out a series of mournful cries. The array patterns inside were breaking, and some bones were breaking and heading towards destruction. Crack, crack. Not only that, under the huge impact force, the Bone Palace hit the body of the Bone Demon. 1 person and 1 palace fell to the ground like a meteorite. The ground was shaking violently, and the Bone Palace fell to the ground, and the earth was shaking violently. The Bone Demon was defeated in 1 move. Little void sword technique. Jin Leozu disappeared, and the next moment he appeared in front of the blood-changing witch, stabbing at the heart with a sword. The blood river appeared in the blood-changing witch's hand and swept over. Bang bang. In the violent collision, the sword energy surged like a tide, and stabbed out 18 swords in a row. The blood river was shaking, like a silk thread, turning into a huge impact force. The 2 sides were fighting fiercely, and in the blink of an eye, they fought dozens of moves. The attack speed was fast and the attack frequency was high. When everything was gone, Jin Leozu did not move. The blood-changing witch retreated 10 steps, with a bloody wound at the center of her eyebrows, a bloody wound on her chest, and a bloody wound on her shoulder. The wounds on her body healed quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. The Blood Demon Sutra is indeed mysterious, but it's a pity that you are not good enough. As Jin Leozu continued to move forward, a vision rose above his head and evolved into a world. This was a world of swords. In the world of swords, there was nothing else except swords. The sword of destiny, the sword of cause and effect, the sword of reincarnation, the sword of the 5 element, the sword of yin and yang, the sword of death, the sword of life, the sword of stars, 1 magic sword after another. About 3,000 swords gathered together and turned into a vast world. This was exactly what Jin Leozu had imagined, the world of 3,000 swords. Swish. The vision flashed and suppressed in the air, as if 3,000 swords were stabbing at the blood-changing witch. Endless blood sea. The blood-changing witch activated the secret technique, and the blood river was changing, turning into a blood-colored ocean, blocking the front. Swish. The world of 3,000 swords was originally a vision, belonging to a source without roots and a tree without roots. But when the sword was stabbed into the sea of blood, it made a hissing sound, and the illusory sword hurt the real sea of blood. Bang! After a stalemate, the sea of blood exploded. The body of the blood-changing witch was suppressed by the vision, and the 3,000 swords were wiping it out in turn. It urged the incomplete blood river to resist the wiping out, but the blood river was melting quickly. Blood-changing witch, you stay here. Jin Leozu grabbed down with his right hand again, and the 5 swords formed a mountain, suppressing the world. Swish. The figure of the White Bone Demon Lord flashed, approaching behind Jin Leozu, and a white bone sword stabbed at his back. Jin Leozu clapped his palms, as if the vast sea was surging, and forcibly suppressed it. Boom boom boom. With a violent sound, the White Bone Demon Lord flew backwards. Swish. The Black Corpse Demon Lord flashed with evil spirits, waved his hand and shot out flying needles, turning into a rainstorm and attacking. It was the White Bone Magic Needles that specialized in breaking the aura. Ancestor Jin chopped out a sword energy, and the sword energy broke and came, and the bone needles shattered. Let's join forces. Only by joining forces can we kill her. This stinky woman is too powerful. Let's join forces. Kill her. The 3 demon kings communicated with each other and quickly reached an agreement to join forces to besiege Ancestor Jin. The only way out is to join forces. Relying on the strength of 1 person, he was defeated by Ancestor Jin with 3 punches and 2 kicks. Boom boom boom. In the void blood-colored clouds, black corpse gas, pale bone evil gas, and sharp sword energy, etc. Four forces clashed and collided with each other. The tide of destruction collided, melted each other, and went to exhaustion and death. The remaining energy hit the ground with potholes, as if it was bombarded by a shell. Fortunately, the battle was in the sky. If it was on the ground, the aftermath would be more violent and the impact would be more terrible. At this moment, Long Xuan urged the mountain protection formation. The 7 stars killing formation was in operation. Like a giant beast waking up from the ground, the purple light shield kept flashing, resisting the flying energy aftershocks. So powerful, is this the golden core ancestor? Xuanji thought, full of envy. At this moment, in the violent energy collision, a blood-colored cloud flew out and fled to the northwest. There was a black corpse cloud flying to the south, and a white bone cloud appeared, flying to the north. The 3 great demon kings had been defeated and were running away in a hurry. The figure of the golden ancestor appeared in the void. She was holding a jade-like arm in her left hand and a white bone palace in her right hand. She cast a seal, sealed the arm, the white bone palace, etc., and threw them into the 7-star sword formation to suppress them. Chapter 84 Recruitment. After hesitating for a moment, Ancestor Jin chased after the black corpse cloud. 30 miles away, Ancestor Jin blocked the black corpse demon emperor. Swish! A golden sword appeared and stabbed out continuously. The sword was like a dragon and the sword was like the universe. The black corpse demon emperor continued to resist. But the next moment, the sword slashed across his right arm, and the black corpse demon lord's right arm fell. You are too much. Why did 3 people chase me? The black corpse demon lord gritted his teeth and said. Because your mouth is a stinkiest. Ancestor Jin said, and the attacks continued. The black corpse demon lord was seriously injured. I will fight. In an instant, the black stone demon lord urged the golden elixir, and was about to explode. But the next moment, a divine thought took the shape of a sword, and stabbed into his sea of consciousness. Swish! With a crisp sound, the soul in the sea of consciousness was stabbed and injured. The soul of the black corpse demon lord was in chaos, and the golden elixir, that was about to explode, paused for a moment. Swish! A golden flying sword slashed across his neck, and the 6 Yang leader fell to the ground. Sword knowledge, 7 turn golden pill. The black corpse demon lord fell to the ground unwillingly, and his breath was cut off and he died. The golden sword pierced into the dantian, and with a slight flick, a grey corpse pill fell into his hand. Looking at the corpse pill, Jin Liaozu was also relieved. It is difficult to kill a giant and cultivator. Because giant and cultivators can self-destruct their golden pills at dangerous moments, which can seriously injure, or even kill some powerful giant and cultivators. However, the black corpse demon lord was still a step behind. He failed to self-destruct, and was killed by her instead. Xiang Mountain was cheering, and many cultivators were celebrating. Because Jin Liaozu won. Jin Liaozu fought against 3 demons alone, killing the black corpse demon lord, cutting off one arm of the blood transformation witch, and seizing the white bone demon palace, the magic weapon of the white bone demon lord. The 3 trophies were sealed in the void, towering above Xiang Mountain, showing an inexplicable majesty. Suddenly, everyone was afraid. The world didn't know how strong the giant and patriarch was, but now everyone knew. Fellow Daoists, please disperse. Patriarch Jin said. Senior, if there are demon cultivators who want to kill us, it will be unsafe for us to stay in Xiang Mountain for a while. A foundation building cultivator said. That's right. The other cultivators nodded one after another. There is a cave in Xiang Mountain. You can live in it. Patriarch Jin said. However, the blood transformation witch and the white bone demon lord were both seriously injured by me. They need to rest for a period of 60 years before they can recover. You are very safe. As he said that, Patriarch Jin disappeared. After Patriarch Jin disappeared, everyone went to Xiang Mountain to book a room. Some rented it for 10 or even 20 years. Suddenly, the house price in Xiang Mountain rose by 1 level. Seeing the end of the battle, Xuanji was relieved. Fortunately, Patriarch Jin was powerful and survived without any danger. At this time, Xuanji came to the counter and said goodbye to Xuan. Xuan said, Sister Long Xuan, I'm looking for you. Go to that private room. Xuanji nodded and entered the private room. In the private room, Long Xuan was drinking tea, as if thinking about something. Dao, do you remember the beast tide that happens once every 100 years? Long Xuan said directly. Of course I remember. At that time, I was only a teenager, just a junior at the 3rd level of key training. The mountains were full of low-level monsters, and our Lu family was trapped in Xiang Mountain. When Lu Xuanji said this, he paused, and there was a trace of memory. It was also in that battle that the family lost 5 foundation building cultivators, and the Purple Mansion ancestor was seriously injured. The Lu family went from prosperity to decline. Until now, it has not yet caught its breath. There are less than 30 years before the beast tide. The ancestor can't wait any longer and plans to take the initiative to attack the Demon King of the 10,000 Mountains to ease the beast tide. Long Xuan said, the ancestor ordered to recruit Lu family cultivators to go to the 10,000 mountains. Okay. Lu Xuanji nodded and did not refuse. In the previous life, there was compulsory military service, and refusing to serve would result in imprisonment. In this world, when the conscription order is issued, it must be carried out, and there is no possibility of refusal. How many foundation building cultivators does the Lu family have? Long Xuan asked. 5. Lu Xuanji said. Then at least 3 must be dispatched. Long Xuan said, according to the rules of the ancestors, key training cultivators do not need to participate in the conscription, but each person must pay 50 spirit stones as exemption money. The foundation building families must dispatch at least half of the foundation building cultivators, and the foundation building cultivators who do not go to the expedition must pay 1000 spirit stones as exemption money. For the Purple Mansion family, a Purple Mansion ancestor must personally take action, and the family must dispatch 2/3 of the foundation building cultivators. Those Purple Mansion ancestors who do not go to the expedition must pay an additional 100,000 spirit stones as exemption money. The ancestor will use the cultivation resources worth 1.5 million spirit stones from the treasury as rewards and compensation afterwards. The time is set for 3 days later. Remember not to delay. The tone was calm, but it was unquestionable. This was not a discussion, but an order. I understand. Lu Xuanji nodded. The ancestor is optimistic about you. You have to do your best. Finally, Long Xuan hinted. Without much delay, they went straight to Changyuan Mountain. When they arrived at Changyuan Mountain, Lu Xuanji notified the elder and handed over the conscription document. The elder looked at the conscription document and went directly to the cave to notify. An hour later, the 5 foundation building cultivators of the Lu family gathered together, and no one was absent. This is the conscription document of the ancestor Jin. We can't refuse it. The elder opened the document in his hand and said directly. Now let's confirm the 3 places for the conscription. I'm at the 8th level of foundation building, so I must go to participate. Xuanji is a rising star in the family, so he also has to take up a place. Xiaoxu is Xuanji's Taoist partner, so she can't go. Jinxiu, Jinwen, who of you will go? Haha, I'll go. Father Lu Xianming said, brothers are close in war, and fathers and sons fight together. When the son goes to the battlefield, how can the father not go to the battlefield? Father, you can't go, so I'll go. At this moment, Yi Fixu spoke up. I'm brother Xuanji's Taoist partner, and I'm going to the battlefield with him. Father is old, so he'd better retire in the rear. Xiaoxu, you have good aptitude. You have to spiritual roots, and are the hope for the future of the Lu family. But when you go to the 10,000 mountains and fight on the battlefield, it's very dangerous. You may die at any time. Father Lu Jinwen said, not to mention that you are just a foundation building cultivator. Even Purple Mansion cultivators can die. Decades ago, during the Battle of Teeling Pass, 5 Purple Mansion cultivators died. The lives of cultivators are really worthless. I'll go, but you can't. Yi Fixu wanted to say something, but she remained silent. The meeting was over. The elder was preparing spirit stones as exemption money, and arranging various supplies. Lu Xuanji also returned to the cave, and began to pack up and prepare. The elixir had to be prepared, the talisman had to be prepared, the spirit tool had to be prepared, and he sorted out everything to prepare for the war. Chapter 85. Establishing Authority. Bang bang. At this moment, there was a sound at the door. Lu Xuanji opened the door and saw Yi Fixu. Come in. Lu Xuanji said. Yi Fixu said, father is old, it's better not to go. I'm already at the 6th level of foundation building, so I'd better go. If you go, our Lu family will be wiped out the next day. Lu Xuanji said angrily, look at you, your cultivation speed is too fast. You entered the foundation building stage in your 30s, and you advance one level every 2 or 3 years on average. You are at the 6th level of foundation building at the age of only 46. The speed is too fast. The speed of many heavenly spiritual roots is not as fast as yours. If you respond to the call and go to the battlefield, as long as your eyes are not blind, they will see that there is something wrong with you. The best result at that time is that you disappear halfway and are assassinated by someone. The worst result is that our Lu family will be wiped out because of you. I practice secret techniques to hide my realm and my cultivation. Yi Fixu said weakly. Come on, hiding your realm and strength on the battlefield is no different from seeking death. Lu Xuanji said directly, you have practiced some secret techniques, but you can only hide from cultivators of the same realm. Facing the Purple Mansion ancestor and the Golden Core ancestor, you will definitely be exposed. Yi Fixu said helplessly, then I will just watch you fight to the death outside and do nothing. Before you have the power to protect yourself, you should hide, if you can, when facing high-level cultivators, and avoid crowded places to avoid being exposed. Got it? Yi Fixu said helplessly. Lu Xuanji comforted her a few more words, and Yi Fixu went down. After half a day of preparation, the elder, his father Lu Jinwen, Lu Xuanji and the other 3 left Changyuan Mountain and headed towards Xiang Mountain. When they arrived at Xiang Mountain, there were already cultivators gathered here. A maid greeted them, and they entered the manor. There were 3 reception desks in the manor, which were mainly responsible for registering the cultivators who participated in the war and handing in the exemption money. The Lu family has 258 key training monks, and 2 foundation building monks are guarding the house and unable to participate in the war. A total of 14,900 spirit stones are required as exemption money. After paying the exemption money, a contract will be issued after the monks participating in the war are registered. The contract records the rights and obligations of both parties. After participating in the war, no retreat without reason is allowed before the order of Jin Laozu or Jin Laozu is killed, otherwise they will be killed without mercy. After participating in the war, the injured monks will be compensated according to their injuries, and spirit stones or spiritual medicine will be given. As for the foundation building monks who died, they will be compensated with foundation building pills, merit halls, or points, on the battlefield. After killing a foundation building monster, 20,000 spirit stones will be awarded. Or corresponding items will be given. Killing a Purple Mansion monster will give 200,000 spirit stones, or corresponding items. The spoils of war will be handed over to the public and distributed uniformly, and they may not be collected privately. The monks who died will be distributed first, followed by the monks who killed the enemy, and the monks who did not make any merit will be the last. There are clear clauses on it, recording battlefield discipline, compensation for injuries, compensation for deaths, or distribution of spoils, etc. Later, under the arrangement of the maid, he went into a nearby cave to rest. Not long after, cultivators from the 2 counties came to accept the call up and handed in the exemption money. 3 days later, 380 foundation building cultivators and 15 Purple Mansion cultivators gathered in the manor, responding to the call of Jin Laozu and appearing in the manor. Lu Xuanji looked at it and smacked his lips. Usually, many immortal cultivation families do not show their mountains and waters and are very low-key, as if my family is very poor and my family has no masters. But with the call of Jin Laozu, many hidden cultivators were all blown out. Who else hasn't come? Jin Laozu asked. Long Xuan said, the 8 families, the Yi family in Yi County, the Li family in Xiangxing Mountain, and the Yun family in Beichan County, all used various excuses to refuse to send cultivators, or because they did not have enough cultivators. Destroy them, said Jin Laozu. Yes. Long Xuan arranged, and the disciples under Jin Laozu went out, turning into streams of light and disappearing, heading to the places where those cultivator families were located to carry out the extermination. About 2 hours later, these disciples returned. All of them were full of murderous intent. Hang the heads of these cultivators who did not accept the call on the wooden stakes outside, as a warning to future generations, said Jin Laozu. Soon, on the wooden stakes outside the market, there were heads hanging one by one. Some cultivators saw the abnormality outside, saw the heads one by one, and were horrified in their hearts, and also a little bit of luck. There were more than 50 heads hanging on it. Most of them were foundation building cultivators. There were 2 heads among them, emitting a terrifying aura, and they were purple mansion cultivators, standing above many foundation building cultivators. Ancestor Jin was really cruel and ruthless. He directly wiped out 8 cultivator families. Before the war even started, Ancestor Jin had killed more than 50 people. One of the cultivator families is the Yi family in Yi County. It is said that it was a lineage opened up by the descendants of the Golden Dan ancestor of Danliang sect. They are arrogant and domineering at ordinary times. Even this time, only half of the family members came, less than 2/3. They thought they could get away with it, but the result was good. They were directly wiped out by Ancestor Jin. Haha, the Yi family in Yi County gave birth to 2 purple mansion ancestors. They thought they were awesome, but now it's good. They were directly wiped out. The Yi family is finished. We don't ask for meat, but we will be satisfied with some chicken soup. The onlookers pointed and talked, with a trace of joy and relief on their faces. When a whale falls, all things come to life. When a giant falls, the cultivator families around can eat with oil dripping from their mouths. The 8 families were exterminated, and no one blamed the ruthless Jin patriarch, but the 8 families were ignorant of the current situation. They really thought that they could rely on their connections, friendships, and affections to make Jin Patriarch give them some face. But Jin Patriarch directly broke their fantasy and directly exterminated the family. Some cultivators cheered and rejoiced in their hearts. Walking out of the cave, Lu Xuan looked at the more than 50 heads on the wooden stakes, and suddenly felt cold in his heart and feet. Back then, the Lu family relied on a purple mansion patriarch, and was famous, and could be called the tyrant of Qingshu County. But now, the heads of 2 purple mansion patriarchs are directly hung on wooden stakes. Chapter 86, Jia Long, set off. Looking at the head on the wooden stake, and then at the laughing crowd around him, and at the onlookers, who were pointing and talking, his feet became colder and colder. Lu Xuanji turned and left, his mind fluctuating. Unexpectedly, Ancestor Jin was also such a person. When he first met her, Ancestor Jin was a stunning beauty, bubbling and moving. The ancestor wanted to accept him as a disciple, and although he refused, he had a good impression of this ancestor. Later, he stabbed 3 swords in the air, killed the demon cultivators, and saved the Lu family. The favorability points for this ancestor Jin were completely maximumed out. But just now, because the 8 major families did not respond to the call for conscription, or some families did not have enough people, more than 50 foundation building cultivators and 2 purple mansion cultivators were directly destroyed, and their heads were hung on wooden stakes. This was equivalent to the peak moment, and the 2 Lu families were wiped out. This is the majesty of the Golden Core ancestor. Some 2nd generation cultivators, some brainless villains. My father is so and so. All of them are arrogant, look down on this and that, and pretend to be awesome, and get slapped in the face countless times. But it is not the case with Jin Laozu. He is usually kind and amiable, not surprised by praise or criticism, neither pretending to be awesome, nor slapping in the face, low-key and quiet, like a lady from a noble family. But once he kills, there is no sign at all, no anger, only a light stop, and 8 cultivator families are wiped out. This process is like stepping on 8 ants on the road at random. Xuanji, what happened? The elder asked when entering the cave. 8 cultivation families were wiped out. Lu Xuanji said, talking about what happened outside. It's a pity that those guys were smart all their lives, but they didn't see the situation clearly. They touched the brow of Ancestor Jin, so how could they not die? The great elder said, in the past, they preached that rescuing my Lu family was a favor, but now it is a show of majesty. Who dares to despise the majesty of Ancestor Jin now? Now that I think about it, I was a little impulsive when I refused to become his disciple. If Ancestor Jin was angry at that time and directly took action to destroy my Lu family, that would be dangerous. Lu Xuanji sighed. Haha. The elder said with a smile. Not bad, not bad. You finally got smart for a while. You know, this world seems peaceful and orderly. The cultivators are not allowed to kill at will. The weak forces are protected. The cultivators can practice with peace of mind and steadily improve their cultivation. All this is just what the giant and ancestors need. If war and chaos can bring benefits to the giant and ancestors, they will choose chaos and war. If peace and order can bring benefits to the giant and ancestors, they will choose peace and order. What affects the decision making of the giant and ancestors is not morality and ethics, but interests. Lu Xuanji nodded and said, Xuanji, I understand. At night, a message came. The elder, Lu Jinwen, Lu Xuanji and others walked out of the cave and gathered on the square. They saw a huge warship hovering above the square. There were scales on the warship, emitting green, with solid defense. There were array patterns engraved on it, like a giant beast standing in the air, exuding a terrifying breath. At this moment, Long Xuan appeared and said, this is the Jia Lang. You can board the warship. Everyone, bring your merit cards. This is used to record your military exploits. As she waved her hand, each person received a palm-sized token. The token can record military exploits and the behavior of the cultivators. Many cultivators entered the Jia Lang one after another. After boarding the warship, the 3 Lu family members entered a cabin under the guidance of the token and waited patiently. But, at this moment, the Jia Lang made a slight sound and started to fly. Only at the moment of opening did Lu Xuanji feel a slight shake, and then it became stable, without any signs of shaking at all. The elder reminded, when we arrive at the location, the Ancestor Jin will notify us. Lu Xuanji nodded. The cabin was only 20 square meters, without any furnishings, and looked empty. It seemed a little bored. The elder took out a small table, took out the teapot, teacups, etc., and began to drink tea. My father also went over, took the teacup, and began to taste the tea. Lu Xuanji went to the side, closed his eyes, and began to rest, secretly communicating with his mobile phone. Data is being collected. Battle merit token, which can record the monk's battle merits and supervise the monk's behavior. It is a first grade spiritual weapon. Jia Lang, a 4th grade treasure ship, has 18 large formations and 108 small formations. When flying at full speed, it is comparable to a Yuanying monk. It can also activate high-grade spiritual stones and perform time and space jumps. It also has a Xuanwu life and death formation, which can resist the attacks of Yuanying monks. It also has the 5-element extinction sword, which can launch attacks comparable to Yuanying monks. Disadvantages: Jia Lang is comparable to Yuanying monks in strength, speed, and attack, but it is not as flexible and changeable as Yuanying monks in combat. If it fights with Yuanying monks, it may not be defeated in the long run. Lu Xuanji looked at this information and was secretly surprised. He thought of something again and opened Baidu Map directly. A dark picture appeared, which was a night scene. Adjusting the picture entered a clear state. In the void, there was a flying boat moving forward. The speed of the flying boat was very fast, reaching 3000 meters per second. However, when it was moving, it did not produce any friction with the air around it, and there was no sound. It was moving forward silently. In the process of moving forward, there was a grey light wrapped around it, which was difficult to be seen by the mind. After the foundation building, the cultivators rarely looked around with their eyes, but directly used the mind to observe the surroundings and observe everything. However, these grey lights would blind the mind perception and avoid the detection of some cultivators. Ancestor Jin, you are really good. Lu Xuanji sighed. The last time he entered the 100,000 mountains, he was discovered by the mind of some Yuanying monsters and Jiandan monsters. At that time, he was very weak, just a junior in the late stage of key training, and those Yuanying monsters disdained to take action. It's like when a human is walking, he sees 2 insects fighting next to him, or a group of ants moving things, and he is too lazy to take action. But once a purple mansion cultivator or a golden core cultivator enters the demon clan's territory, it will attract the powerful monsters, which is very dangerous. Swish. The Jianlong arrived near the boundary monument of the 100,000 mountains. It entered the 100,000 mountains silently and began to move forward stealthily, blending in with the surrounding environment silently. The grey mist surrounded it, affecting the exploration of the divine mind and achieving the effect of invisibility. When it advanced 100 miles, the Jianlong turned into a dragon, breathing in the mist, its huge body swaying, its ferocious claws and sharp teeth, like a powerful monster. The demonic aura radiated all around, bringing waves of pressure. Those low-level monsters sensed the aura and lay dormant one after another. Some hid underground, some hid in their nests, and some entered the deep trenches. Chapter 87, Sneak Attack on White Tiger Mountain. Ignoring all this, the dragon continued to move forward. This was a large formation on the Jianlong. When activated, it could transform into a dragon, emitting demonic energy and threatening some low-level demon beasts. Swish, swish, swish. The Jianlong continued to move forward, but its speed slowed down a lot. It walked through specific areas, avoiding the territories of some powerful demon beasts, and walked through the intersections of some demon beasts, to avoid fighting with some powerful demon beasts. It mainly moved forward in a hidden way. Opening Beidou map, the terrain of the 100,000 mountains appeared on the map. The 100,000 mountains were enlarged, and a small dot appeared on the map. The white dot was a key training demon beast, the yellow dot was a foundation building demon beast, and the blue dot was a purple mansion demon beast. Among the 100,000 mountains, there were the most key training demon beasts, a large area of densely packed demon beasts, and you could encounter several of them almost every few dozen meters. You could encounter a foundation building demon beast every 10 or 20 miles. As for the purple mansion demon beast, you could encounter one in less than 50 miles. Directly on the map, the key training monsters were blocked, leaving only the foundation building monsters and purple mansion monsters. But the number is still frightening. Along the way, there are thousands of foundation building monsters and hundreds of purple mansion monsters. If these monsters directly turn into a tide and attack human villages and cities, it will be almost a devastating disaster. The beast tide that occurs once 100 years is almost a catastrophe for the people of Chu. The number of monsters far exceeds that of humans. Every once in a while, the beast tide will bring huge disasters to humans. Fortunately, there are few human cultivators, but there are many top-level strong ones who confront the monster kings and compete for living space for humans. Along the way, the Jianlong did not stop and moved forward quickly. As they went deeper and deeper, the level of the monsters was increasing, and the number of monsters was relatively decreasing. When it was dawn, the Jianlong was dormant in a valley, restraining its breath, like a stone, motionless. At night, the Jianlong set off again, and moved forward in the night. In this way, they hid during the day, and traveled at night, heading towards the depths of the 100,000 mountains. Hiding during the day, and traveling at night, they were trying to avoid some terrifying Yuanying monsters, and even the Shenhua monsters. After walking for 3 days and 3 nights, they stopped near a mountain range. In the Beidou map, this is a huge mountain range with a radius of 3,000 miles. Various spiritual medicines and herbs are planted in it, growing here like weeds. There are demon bees walking and spreading pollen. There are demon beasts taking shape and taking care of some spiritual medicines. And there are some demon beasts with human bodies and animal heads walking. The map shows that there are more than 20,000 key training monsters, more than 500 foundation building monsters, 50 purple mansion monsters, and 2 golden elixir monsters. There are clear levels here, and a strict demon kingdom has been established. It's just that there are too many monsters. Swish. The warship stopped, and the sound of gathering came. Xuanji opened his eyes, and left the cabin with the elder, father, etc. and went to the deck. On the deck, 380 foundation building monks and 15 purple mansion monks gathered together. Ancestor Xuanji appeared, and began to arrange tasks. Fellow Taoists, we have arrived at Beidou Mountain. There is a white tiger monster here. This white tiger monster has the blood of the ancient mythical beast white tiger. The blood level is already the 3rd level of mixed blood, and the cultivation has entered the golden elixir stage. I will personally kill the white tiger. As for you, attack and contain other monsters. Long Xuan will lead the monks of Xiang Mountain to activate the formation, temporarily obscure the secrets of heaven, isolate the connection between the inside and the outside, and deceive the perception of nearby monsters. Within half an hour, we are safe. This battle must be over within half an hour. After half an hour, other monsters may react and come to rescue. If things are impossible, evacuate in time. Taking out a map, Ancestor Jin assigned tasks. Each monk has a clear combat mission. Everyone nodded as they listened. Xuanji listened, but was slightly puzzled. In the display of Beidou map, it shows that there are 2 giant monsters. One is the white tiger and the other is the black tiger. But why did Ancestor Jinzi say that it was a giant monster? I don't understand. Maybe she has a deep meaning. The calculations and plans of Ancestor Jinden are not something that a mere Foundation establishment junior can guess. Don't think too much, just follow Ancestor Jinden and charge into battle. This battle must be fought quickly and decisively. If there are those who are sneaky and cunning, don't blame me for settling accounts later. Let's start. Ancestor Jin said. His tone was sharp and murderous. Everyone agreed in unison. Boom boom boom. With a violent sound, Ancestor Jin chopped down with a sword, and the formation guarding the White Tiger Mountain began to fall apart. Woo woo woo. The giant along was running, and the formation on the warship began to be activated. The grey mist rose up and began to cover the 3,000 miles of mountains. As the fog spread, the visibility of Beidou Mountain was decreasing, and the perception of the mind was decreasing. On the warship again, the Xuanji formation was running, disrupting the Xuanji nearby. The Xuanji sensing, Xuanji deduction, etc. became slow and dull. The low-level monsters fought constantly, and the fighting was chaotic and disorderly, but after reaching the giant stage, the high-level monsters established a corresponding order, watching each other and fighting against human monks. Once a human force attacks a monster force, there will inevitably be other monster forces to rescue. This operation can delay the sensing and rescue of other monsters, giving Jin Liaozu some time to eliminate the monsters in the mountains. Quick battle, end the battle, and evacuate before the rescue arrives. Boom boom boom. Jin Liaozu took the lead and rushed into the depths of the mountains. The Purple Mansion monks followed closely, and the Foundation building monks began to clear the miscellaneous soldiers. Soon, the human monks and the monsters confronted each other, and the two sides fought fiercely. The Great Elder was admonishing, we should not charge too hard, just clear out the key training monsters and Foundation building monsters on the periphery. Understood. Father Lu Jinwen nodded. Lu Xuanji also nodded. The 3 controlled the rhythm, killing in an orderly and slow manner, the flying swords flashing, killing one key training monster, focusing on the weak monsters. The other cultivators did the same, killing monsters on the periphery. The sudden attack caught the monster on the White Tiger off guard. The key training monsters, Foundation building monsters, Purple Mansion monsters, etc. on the White Tiger Mountain were killed one after another, and they were severely injured and retreated to the rear. Many Foundation building monsters and Purple Mansion monsters scattered around, after experiencing the initial surprise attack and chaos, began to retreat to the rear, narrowing the defense range, and increasing the thickness of the defense. The scattered Foundation building monsters gathered together, relying on each other, and joined forces to cast various spells. Under the joint confrontation, the speed of human advancement suddenly slowed down. Chapter 88 Brutal Fight. Swish. Lu Xuanji activated the Lihuo sword and slashed out with one sword, instantly killing a Foundation building demon wolf. Roar. At this moment, a white tiger opened its mouth and spit out a Zhengjin divine sword, stabbing at Lu Xuanji's neck. Father Lu Jinwen activated the shield to resist the killing move of the white tiger demon beast. At the same time, a demon wolf attacked, but was slashed to death by the elder. The 3 members of the Lu family stood side by side, rushing forward, one attacking, and the other 2 taking care of the flanks and the rear, cooperating with each other. When Lu Xuanji attacked, he could safely leave the rear and flanks to the elder and his father. When the elder was urging the flying sword to stab, and the fire was burning, He subconsciously controlled his true essence, reducing the loss of true essence, and always kept the true essence at more than 7 layers. Once the true essence fell below the 7th layer, he immediately took the Xuanji pill to make up for his own loss. The elder was at the peak of the 8th level of foundation building, and he was just about to enter the 9th level, but he was willing to be an assistant. As for his father Lu Jinwen and Lu Xuanji, one was at the 4th level of foundation building, and the other was at the 2nd level of foundation building, but they became the main force of the strong attack. This was also the elder's plan before the war. In the battle, the elder had to stay at the peak, so that if something went wrong, he could retreat unscathed. If the true essence was consumed too much during the battle, he would encounter unexpected dangers. The three of them also rushed and killed quickly. When attacking the monsters, they would decide the outcome in one move. Regardless of victory or defeat, life or death, they would leave quickly without any delay or staying in place. In this way, on the battlefield, moving quickly can avoid being stared at by some purple mansion monsters and killing them. These combat experiences are some conclusions drawn by the elder in previous battles. In this way, he will not be criticized for shrinking back, and he can also maintain a certain hope of survival and live to the end of the war. Boom boom boom. Flying swords stabbed, skyfires burned, vines entangled and besieged. The 3 members of the Lu family charged and killed 8 monsters on the spot. The bodies of these monsters were put into storage bags as trophies. The rules stipulate that trophies cannot be kept privately, and the trophies will be distributed afterwards. But on the battlefield, the bodies of the monsters killed belong to the cultivators. These are all the bodies of foundation building monsters. The inner pills of monsters can be used to refine foundation building pills or other auxiliary pills. The fur of monsters can be used to make talismans. The teeth and bones of monsters can be used to refine monster soldiers. The blood of monsters can be used to make talisman ink. Foundation building monsters are full of treasures. The bodies of foundation building monsters are priced between 5,000 and 10,000 spirit stones. For this expedition, the Lu family mobilized 3 foundation building cultivators and paid 14,800 spirit stones, which cost a lot of manpower. But just the corpses of these 8 monsters can already pay back the investment and even make a small profit. At ordinary times, it is almost impossible to hunt 8 monsters. Foundation building monsters are also intelligent, and there are a large group of key training monsters below, which are difficult to kill. Even if you can't beat them, you can run away quickly, and you can also call nearby foundation building monsters for support. In some cases, you can even summon purple mansion monsters to help. Every time you hunt a foundation building monster, humans have to pay a corresponding price. But now the 2 sides are in a war, with the golden ancestor in the front and more than a dozen purple mansion cultivators resisting in front. The danger still exists, but the risk index has dropped a lot. Swish. At this moment, another foundation building monster was killed. Lu Xuanji panted slightly, and his true essence was consumed by more than 6 layers. Under the call, his father Lu Jinwen acted as the main attacker, and Lu Xuanji began to act as an auxiliary, taking Xuanji pills to speed up recovery. Swish. At this moment, a purple mansion monster shot out a demon blade from the air, which turned into a crescent moon, and attacked the 3 people of the Lu family. Not good. At this moment, the elder urged the shield, which was getting bigger and blocking in front. But it was a purple mansion attack. How terrible it was. Swish. Just a crisp sound. The shield was torn apart. When it was about to cut through the bodies of the 3 people, a pair of wings appeared behind Lu Xuanji, flapping, and the speed was extremely fast. One on the left, and one on the right. He carried his father and the elder, to avoid the attack of the moon blade. His father was still a bit too slow, and the moon blade scratched his father's shoulder, directly breaking his right arm, and falling to the ground, blood spurting out. He just groaned and used his true energy to stop the bleeding. The wings were flapping, and they were already 300 meters away. Boom boom boom. The remaining force of the moon blade hit a human cultivator, and the body of this foundation building cultivator was cut in half, and it seemed that he was doomed. Ahem. The elder coughed. His shield was broken, and he was also affected. He took a blood nourishing pill. The purple mansion demon urged his demon power and was about to make another move, but at this moment, the purple mansion cultivator of the human race slashed down with a sword, white as snow and cold as frost. The purple mansion monk urged his demon power and turned into a moon blade to slash down. Boom boom boom. The two fought again. The three members of the Lu family stood aside and panted slightly. The elder's shield was broken, and he suffered internal injuries. His father broke an arm, and was also seriously injured. Lu Xuanji was not injured, but he urged the wings of freedom to dodge the purple mansion attack, which also consumed a lot of energy. At this moment, 3 wolf demons urged the wind blades and bombarded the 3 members of the Lu family. Take advantage of your illness to kill you. The foundation building monsters are no less intelligent than humans. At this moment, seeing that the 3 humans were injured, they also attacked one after another, adding insult to injury and trying to kill them. The elder ignored his injury and used his long sword to kill the 3 wolf monsters. The sword light was divided into 3 parts, changing between real and fake. Ding dong. Ding dong. The wind blade and the sword light intertwined, making a violent sound. Finally, the 3 wolf monsters changed their shapes and attacked from 3 different corners. One person attacked a cultivator and defeated them one by one. Suddenly, the 3 members of the Lu family were in danger. Forget it, I can't hide anymore. Lu Xuanji took a deep breath, and the wings of freedom behind him were activated. He adjusted the speed of the wings, and the speed was rapidly increasing. In an instant, he turned into a stream of light and killed the wolf monster. He activated the Heavenly Fire Art, and the 18 Heavenly Fire Talismans in his Danshan were surging, merging into the true essence, and turning into a sword of extinction. The wolf monster, who was comparable to the 5th level of foundation building, was directly cut off at the waist by a sword, and died on the spot. Lu Xuanji's body was also shaking slightly. He lost more than 2 levels of true essence, and the remaining true essence was less than 3 levels. Swish. The elder flew his sword and slashed it. The sword light was like snow, beheading the wolf demon, and killed another wolf demon. On the contrary, my father was in danger, and was defeated by the wolf demon. The elder slashed with his sword, but the wolf demon became alert, and summoned other monsters. 3 more monsters rushed to kill him. One was a bull demon, a feather demon, and a carp demon, and they rushed to the 3 people with murderous intent. Retreat. The elder said, retreating to the direction where the Yi family was. It is better to lean against the big tree to enjoy the shade. When the elder approached the Yi family, he said, my Lu family cultivator is injured, and I would like to ask the Yi family for help. I will definitely reward you generously later. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89 White Tiger Demon King. There were about 30 cultivators from the Yi family who participated in the battle this time, and there was also a Purple Mansion cultivator. The Purple Mansion cultivator had already taken action to contain the Purple Mansion Great Demon of the Demon Clan. But even so, the 30 foundation building cultivators of the Yi family resisted wave after wave of demon cultivators, which was considered a huge force. The head of the Yi family smiled and said, the Lu family and the Yi family help each other, and should support each other. The elder breathed a sigh of relief, and took Lu Jinwen and Lu Xuanji to join the Yi family team. The dozen or so demon beasts that were originally chasing and killing suddenly stopped and summoned other demon beasts to help. The 2 sides fell into a brief stalemate. Seeing this scene, Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. Connections are still useful. If there were no connections between the Lu family and the Yi family in the past, the Yi family would not accept them to join the team, or deliberately delay for a few breaths, and the 3 cultivators of the Lu family would be in danger. Boom boom boom. The fight continued, and individual cultivators fell one by one, and demon beasts also fell. Originally, the monks were divided into small teams, and they rushed into the formation of the demon clan like a sharp knife cutting meat. But as the demon beasts reacted, they began to reorganize their formation and counterattack. The human monks also shrank their formation, and the small teams gathered into a large team, confronting each other and attacking with various spells. Xuanji looked up and saw that in the depths of the mountains, there were purple mansion monks fighting with purple mansion monsters, and there were Jin Patriarch fighting with Giant and Monster King, fighting each other fiercely. It was not these foundation building monks and purple mansion monks who decided the outcome of the battlefield, but Jin Patriarch. If Jin Patriarch won, everything would be fine. If Jin Patriarch lost, everything would be in vain. Boom boom boom. In the sky, the battle continued, and the fight continued. Jin Patriarch held a sword in his hand. The sword light was like a tide, the sword intent was like snow, and the sword force was like a mountain, like a continuous wave sweeping in, one wave after another, sweeping in. Roar. The White Tiger Demon King, who was originally in human form, transformed into a beast. The tiger's body was about 10 feet long and more than 1.5 meters tall. It looked like it was made of platinum, with thick limbs and a tail that looked like a steel whip. Clouds follow dragons, winds follow tigers. As its body danced, the white tiger harnessed the power of wind and the power of Xuanji to attack. Humans are looking for death. The white tiger urged its demonic power, and its body suddenly turned into metal, becoming indestructible and able to resist magic weapons. Sword key hit the white tiger's body, making a crisp sound, as if it was attacking a magic weapon, but it was just a series of white dots or white marks, which did not break the defense at all. The body shape was changing, and the white tiger harnessed the power of wind and thunder to fight in close combat. When it reached the giant stage, the various innate magical powers of the White Tiger Demon King were terrifyingly powerful and astonishingly lethal, but it seemed that under the influence of the instincts of wild beasts, this Demon King still liked close combat, attacking with his claws, biting with his sharp teeth, and whipping the enemy with his tail. Boom boom boom. Ancestor Jin urged the flying sword, and the sword light split into 7 sword key. The 7 sword key transformed into 7 stars, showing the momentum of the Big Dipper, carrying endless starlight to suppress. Roar. As the White Tiger Demon King opened his mouth and exhaled, the demonic power surged, turning into rolling thunder and sound that swept over, and the void formed ripples and tore through. Bang bang. The Big Dipper shattered on the spot, and scattered in the void. Swish. At this moment, Ancestor Jin disappeared, and appeared above the White Tiger Demon King like a ghost, cutting his neck with a sword in the air. The White Tiger Demon King stretched out his tiger claws, which were sharp and solid, as if they were torn by a 4th grade spiritual treasure. Bang, bang, the sword and claw clashed together, one sword faster than the other like a rainstorm, and the claws were impenetrable and continuous. In the blink of an eye, 100 moves were exchanged. White Tiger 7 killing sword. The White Tiger Demon King opened his mouth, and suddenly a 3-foot wide sword turned into a stream of light, and stabbed at him. This sword was full of light and dazzling, as if it was made of platinum. This was the White Tiger Demon King's life magic weapon, that he spent 200 years to make. It was already a 4th grade magic weapon, and even among the 4th grade magic weapons, it was considered top notch. The demon race was not good at refining weapons and alchemy, and this was only for the lower level demon beasts. After reaching the golden elixir stage, those demon kings were proficient in all methods, and only needed to spend a little time to learn to refine weapons and alchemy. The White Tiger 7 killing sword turned into a stream of light, and stabbed at the golden ancestor. The golden ancestor's eyes lit up, and a trace of joy flashed across his eyes. Swish. A purple light shot out from his eyes, and the White Tiger 7 killing sword immediately let out a mournful cry. The golden ancestor waved his hand to grab the White Tiger 7 killing sword, and suppressed it in the treasure tripod. Give me back my sword. The White Tiger Demon King sensed the magic weapon, and urged his divine thoughts to summon his life magic weapon, but he sensed that the magic weapon was suppressed. In anger, he rushed forward, and his huge tiger claws slapped at Jin Liaozu's head. Sword pointing. Jin Liaozu put 2 fingers of his left hand together, and his 2 fingers were sharp, like a sword pointing at the tiger claws. In the violent collision, the tiger claws shattered, blood and flesh blurred. Die. Jin Liaozu took another step forward, close to the White Tiger Demon King, less than 1 meter away. The sword in his hand turned into a cold light, turned into an eternal star, and stabbed into the eyes of the White Tiger Demon King, killing him with one move. No. The white tiger demon king flashed a trace of fear, and the king pattern on his forehead was shaking, turning into a ray of light and shooting at Jin Leozu. Jin Leozu felt uneasy and was about to dodge, but he was a step too late. The light shot at Jin Leozu, and his soul was immediately fixed, and he could not move at all. The white tiger demon king took the opportunity to attack, opened his bloody mouth, and bit directly at Jin Leozu's head. Although he was already a golden core demon king, the white tiger demon king's experience of hunting in his childhood made him like to bite off the enemy's head and then swallow it alive. Crack. At this moment, a golden bell flashed and appeared, with runes engraved on it, with the sun, moon, and stars. It appeared above the head of the golden ancestor at the critical moment, resisting the bite of the white tiger demon king. With a violent sound, the golden bell was bitten. He opened his mouth and swallowed the golden bell, and by the way, he wanted to swallow the golden ancestor under the golden bell. At this moment, the golden ancestor came from the soul, turned into a sword light, and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was already 100 meters away. Roar. The white tiger demon king urged the king pattern on his forehead, and the light flashed, turning into a mysterious power that was infused into his body. Crack, crack. His body was shrinking, but his strength was increasing, his cultivation was increasing, and his explosive power was increasing. It seemed that he was performing a secret technique to temporarily improve his cultivation. A trace of solemnity flashed in the eyes of Jin Leozu, and his mind went to sense downwards. In the battlefield below, after the initial surprise attack, which caused heavy damage to the monsters shrank their front lines, gathered their troops, began to stabilize their defenses, and even began to counterattack the human monks. The human monks were obviously not able to defeat them. This was not their fault, but there were too many monster monks. The foundation building monsters, purple mansion monsters, etc. here far outnumbered the human monks. Chapter 90 Safe Evacuation. Roar. The white tiger demon king's aura was expanding, turning into a stream of light, attacking. But at this moment, the dragon appeared in the void, and a 5-element life and death sword energy stabbed down from the air. This sword was very condensed, turning into a flash of white light. But in terms of power, it was comparable to a strike from the nascent soul. Bang! The sword energy slashed at the body of the white tiger, and the originally metal body was shattered abruptly, like broken porcelain. Void sword. Ancestor Jin disappeared, and the next moment he appeared above the white tiger's head, and the sword stabbed into his brain in the air. Puff. The sword sank into the white tiger's head, and the white tiger struggled and dropped his head weakly. Ancestor Jin breathed a sigh of relief, took out the healing pill, and was about to take it. Just in the battle just now, the white tiger's soul fixing power hurt his soul, and the Zhengjin power hit his body, and his meridians were already damaged. The power of the medicine was being digested. At this moment, a black light flashed and stabbed towards her neck. Plop. The 6th Yang leader of Jin Leozu fell. At this moment, a black tiger appeared. Its aura had just entered the golden core stage, but its aura was ferocious and terrifying, and sword ki tore through it. Swish. Swish. Jin Leozu's body was torn apart by the sword ki, and blood holes appeared one after another. At this moment, a puppet on Jin Leozu's body shattered. Crack. As the puppet shattered, a flame rose from Jin Leozu's body. Where the flame covered, Jin Leozu's wounds were healing, and his head was reattached to his neck, and all his injuries were healed. A substitute puppet. Back then, she had obtained a treasure in an ancient cave that could transfer her injuries to the puppet and die for her once. Just now, she had been killed by the black tiger, but the substitute puppet brought her back to life. Go to hell. At this moment, Jin Leozu was furious, and he urged the flying sword. The sword light was like snow, and he stabbed the black tiger. The black tiger was roaring, controlling the power of Zhengjin, controlling the power of wind and thunder, and his qualifications were still higher than the white tiger monster king, but he had just entered the golden elixir stage and his combat power was really limited. After 3 moves, he was seriously injured by Jin Leozu. Swish. Jin Leozu urged the flying sword, and was about to kill him. A purple mansion monster appeared and blocked in front. As they approached, 8 more purple mansion monsters appeared, cooperating with each other, evolving into a killing formation, blocking in front. Young master, leave quickly. This person is a sword cultivator. We can't hold on for long. Young master, leave quickly. The sword cultivator's killing is amazing. We can't resist it at all. Young master, leave quickly. Young master, leave quickly. We will avenge us 100 years later. The master is not even his opponent. Young master, don't be so stubborn. Leave quickly. Young master's talent is still better than the master. In the future, he can become a Yuanying demon king, or a Shenhua demon emperor. Don't be so stubborn here. The young master is in the future, not now. We are the master's companions. We must help the young master resist this great human. My son, leave quickly. It's not safe here. These 8 great demons are all companions of the White Tiger Demon King. They are all the closest people to the White Tiger Demon King. What is a companion demon? Legend has it that some demon beasts with noble bloodlines are difficult to breed. In the place where they are bred, some spiritual medicines will be planted as companions. It is difficult for spiritual medicine to give birth to spiritual intelligence, and it is even more difficult to transform. However, after absorbing the blood breath leaked from the blood of those noble monsters, there is a possibility of giving birth to spiritual intelligence and even transforming. Those spiritual medicines that have transformed will take it as their responsibility to protect the monster, and this is the companion monster. It is equivalent to the protector of humans. The relationship between the companion monster and the monster is extremely close, not more than relatives, not more than brothers, not more than husband and wife. Among these 8 companion monsters, there is also a purple mansion monster, who is also the mother of the black tiger. Seeing that the young master is in danger, these 8 purple mansion monsters immediately block the front, not afraid of the terribleness of the Jin Patriarch. Since you are looking for death, then I will fulfill your wish. The Jin Patriarch urged the flying sword to kill. Bang bang. After only resisting for a moment, the formation was broken. One sword fell, and a purple mansion monster was destroyed. Another sword fell, and another purple mansion fell. Swish. The sword light was like snow, and the killing intent was like a tide. In just an instant, 8 purple mansion monsters were killed. But the black tiger disappeared. Damn it, raising a tiger will only bring trouble. Ancestor Jin sighed. He restrained his distracting thoughts, and flew out with his sword, to kill a demon cultivator. Whether it was a foundation building demon cultivator or a purple mansion demon cultivator, none of them could withstand the sword of the golden elixir. Originally, the human cultivators were outnumbered, and had already been defeated. But with Ancestor Jin's move, it was like cutting vegetables and melons. The remaining purple mansion monsters and foundation building monster beasts fled. Many cultivators looked at Ancestor Jin's great power, and were shocked and indescribable. Is this a golden elixir cultivator? Purple mansion cultivators, purple mansion peak cultivators, half-step golden elixir cultivators, etc. are vulnerable in front of Ancestor Jin. Ancestor Jin changed the situation with his own strength. Xuanji panted slightly. The demons were being defeated and fleeing. Some perished and some fled for their lives. The battle was over. Ancestor Jin used his magic to search for treasures in the White Tiger Mountains, including spiritual medicines, spiritual herbs, spiritual stones, and other treasures. Because the mountains were too big and time was limited, only some of the spiritual medicines with high age were searched, and the lower age ones were left in place. The treasures in the treasury were also collected in the central treasury, and the other small treasuries were ignored. There were also underground spiritual veins, which were not destroyed. He just searched roughly, greeted everyone, boarded the Jia Lung, and disappeared. Less than 10 minutes after many cultivators disappeared, a terrifying aura descended from the void, and a giant demon king descended. The demon aura was as vast as the sea, and the aura was as terrifying as the tide. The aura was even more powerful than Ancestor Jin. Damn, it's another human cultivator. The giant demon king said angrily. Boom boom boom. In less than 10 breaths, another giant demon king descended. Less than a moment later, 10 golden core demon kings descended. Not only that, a terrifying thought descended, exuding a breath of destruction. At the moment of its arrival, the weather around it was changing, and the spiritual energy was guarding the surroundings like a tide. It was a Yuanying demon king clone. Fortunately, the Jin Patriarch evacuated in time, otherwise he would have been stuck here, and would have died. seal off the 100,000 mountains and hunt down the murderer. The Yuanian clone said. Many demon kings responded in unison. But some demon kings were thinking about dividing up the inheritance of the white tiger demon king and eating up the whole family. Everything can be a demon. There are many demon races, and some races even have blood feuds. The demon cultivators fight and fight constantly, and often fight to the point of killing each other. Even with the suppression of the Demon King Palace, there are still many disputes and fights. Chapter 91 Post-War Harvest. Father, mother, uncle, aunt, I want to avenge you. 500 miles away, in the cave, mist rose from the black tiger's body, and his body was changing, turning into a man in black. He gritted his teeth, full of resentment, thinking of his father being killed, his mother and uncles being killed, in order to intercept the human sword cultivator. His heart was extremely angry, and after the anger, the killing intent was boiling. Without his father, White Tiger Mountain could not be preserved. The former enemies would pounce on him and divide up everything in the family. As for him, he would also become the target of hunting by some demon kings, and they would cut off the roots to prevent future troubles. After he was killed by some demon kings, those demon kings would frame the crime on some human cultivators to clear themselves of any responsibility. Father has always been cautious and never let anything slip through. The sentries set up on the periphery and the strict defense line set up. If human cultivators sneak attack, they may be discovered in advance. Even if it is unexpected, there will be monsters that leak the news. But now all kinds of early warning methods are ineffective, and all kinds of sentries are ineffective. Black Tiger thought, and murderous intent flashed in his eyes. If you don't think about it, it's fine, but if you think about it carefully, you will be terrified. But a human cultivator is extremely familiar with Bayhu Mountain, avoiding various sentries, and preventing the news from leaking out. Perfect use of various conditions, to give Bayhu Mountain a fatal blow. To do this, there must be intelligence support from the demon clan, avoiding some dangerous places, and lurking here. Without the intelligence support, provided by the demon clan, it is impossible to complete this raid. Who is it that wants to use the hands of human cultivators to kill my father? Killing intent flashed in Black Tiger's eyes, and the names of the enemies and related information flashed. Those demon cultivators leaked information to my father, which led to my father's misfortune. In the demon race, key training demon beasts are mudhil-aided and are just cannon fodder. Many demon kings acquiesce to the fighting of the lower demon beasts and have a low status. But once a demon beast breaks through the bottleneck and becomes a foundation building demon beast, it will be taken to the Demon King Palace to teach its skills, its innate magical powers, and give it a certain amount of training. The Purple Mansion Great Demon can transform into a human form and is trained by the Demon King Palace. The Golden Core Demon King guards a sacred mountain and becomes a high-ranking official in the Demon King Palace. The demon race is well ordered and joins forces to fight against the hunting of human cultivators. But in the end, some demon traitors defected to the human race, sold out the information of the demon race, and made it convenient for the human race. Swish. The Giant Long left quietly. Back in the cabin, the three were resting in silence. The elder was injured and was circulating his true essence to repair his injuries. His father Lu Jinwen was not only injured, but also had an arm broken. Lu Xuanji was also injured and was recuperating his meridians. In the cabin, other cultivators were also injured and were regulating their breathing. Some cultivators' injuries were not serious and they could recover in a few months. Some cultivators' injuries were serious and they needed to recover for 10 or even 20 years. Some cultivators' injuries were so serious that their foundation was destroyed and their cultivation could not be improved. If you have no injuries, you are embarrassed to say that you participated in this battle. After this battle, almost everyone was injured. This is war, and injuries and bleeding are the main themes. As for the situation where the enemy died thousands of times and we had 0 casualties, that is a plot that only appears in novels and stories. Killing 1000 enemies and 300 of our side would be considered a great victory. Hoo-hoo. Thinking of something, Lu Xuanji directly handed the storage bag to the elder. Elder, there are 13 corpses of monsters in it. Please check it. The elder took the storage bag, counted it and said, this time, we got close to the Yi family to avoid danger. To thank the Yi family, we should send 3 corpses of monsters. Father Lu Jinwen nodded and said, of course. It should be so. Lu Xuanji also nodded. People should be grateful. The Yi family helped on the battlefield, which was a favor. We should return the favor and express our gratitude. These monster corpses, plus the merit rewards, are enough to buy half a purple mansion pill for the elder. Father said happily. It's better not to use the purple mansion pill. It's too expensive. I plan to rely on myself to reach the purple mansion realm. The elder refused directly. It's better to use these pills. To reserve 3 foundation building pills for the Lu family. By the way, I also need to buy some auxiliary pills for Xuanji to improve his cultivation. Each small level of the foundation building period takes too long. Without the help of pills, it is almost impossible to break through. The lifespan of the foundation building period is 240 years, which seems long, but it is actually too short. 3 layers of the spirit stones earned this time will be used as reserves. 2 layers will be used to buy foundation building pills. 3 layers will be used to buy pills for Xuanji, and 2 layers will be used to buy some pills for me. The merits have not been distributed yet, but the elder has roughly estimated the rewards after the war. After the war, the Lu family can get at least 200,000 spirit stones as rewards. This is a huge sum of money. The Lu family can earn 15,000 spiritual stones every year from spiritual fields, elixirs, minerals, etc. However, to pay salaries to the family cultivators, provide various benefits, cultivation resources, etc., another 11,000 spiritual stones will be spent. If the annual tribute and personal relationships are added, another 3,000 spiritual stones will be spent. At most, there will be a surplus of 1,000 to 2,000 spiritual stones every year. A surplus of 1 foundation building pill in 10 years. A surplus of 1 purple mansion pill in 100 years. This is the case without accidents. In fact, accidents often happen. Relying on the Lu family's assets, it is considered lucky to be able to have a surplus of 1 foundation building pill in 20 years, and 1 purple mansion pill in 200 years. The income is large, the expenses are also large, and the surplus is small. This is the current situation of the Lu family, and it is also the current situation of many immortal cultivation families. As for reducing the wages of family cultivators, reducing welfare benefits, etc., they don't want to use it. Welfare can only be increased but not reduced. Once the wages and benefits are reduced, the family will be divided, and the family will fall apart. The annual salary of the Lu family cultivators is really not high. The annual salary of a cultivator in the key training stage is between 10 and 30 spiritual stones. The annual salary of a foundation building cultivator is between 300 and 700 spiritual stones. The annual income of many independent cultivators is higher than that of Lu family cultivators. The salary of Lu family cultivators is low, not as high as that of independent cultivators, but they have various invisible benefits. With the protection of the family, outsiders dare not kill people and rob treasures. They can live in a cave with stable spiritual veins for cultivation, and can provide exercises and books on arts at low prices. Low annual salary and high invisible benefits are the reasons why many family cultivators are better than independent cultivators. But even so, the salary cannot be lower. If it is lower, it is not human. Now that the family has more than 200,000 spiritual stones in this expedition, it means that the finances will be relatively rich in the future, and many things can be purchased, and some plans can be launched. Of course, these more than 200,000 spiritual stones belong to the 3 of them who fought desperately and exchanged their lives. They belong to the private property of the 3 of them, not to the Lu family. It cannot and will not be directly attributed. Instead, it enters the family account in the name of family credit. Chapter 92 Rewarding according to merit. Resources are limited, and no family has unlimited resources. Because resources are limited, the family will focus on cultivating those with 3 or 2 spiritual roots, while those with 4 or 5 spiritual roots are abandoned. Don't blame the family for being unkind, because resources are limited, and naturally those monks with great potential and fast cultivation speed should be cultivated. As for those monks with slow cultivation speed and small potential, they will naturally be abandoned. The family must also maximize benefits. The family will only give basic welfare benefits to the bottom monks, and the rest of the resources need to be found by themselves. It is almost impossible to rely on the resources of the family to become a foundation building monk or even a purple mansion. The larger the family, the more powerful the sect, the more masters there are, and the more money they lack. Even because of the lack of money, many forces subconsciously control the number of high-level monks, because they can't afford it. The unspoken rule is that the resources needed for the small realm are raised by themselves. The resources needed for the large realm are provided by the family. This time, the income is 200,000 spiritual stones. The eldest brother gets 100,000 spiritual stones. His father Lu Jinwen gets 60,000 spiritual stones. And Lu Xuanji gets 40,000 spiritual stones. It can be said that he made a fortune. Farming for 10 years is not as good as fighting a war. War is the easiest way to make a fortune. The premise is to win the war and survive until after the war. This raid on Beihu Mountain killed 3 Purple Mansion monks, 50 foundation building monks, and the rest of the monks were injured. 3 monks of the Lu family went to the war, but none of them died. It has to be said that it was luck. After the joy, each went to recuperate. Lu Xuanji thought of something and urged the Bushanding. Suddenly, grey Bushan Qi flowed in his body, the wounds were healing, and some minor damage was repaired. The injury recovered very quickly. It originally took 3 years of recuperation for the injury to heal, but now it only takes 3 months. Father, the elder is injured, but Bushan Qi can be used to repair the injury. Lu Xuanji smiled. He opened the map again and saw a dense green dot on the map, which represented the Chindan monk. There was also a small dot emitting blue, which represented the Yuanying monk. Suddenly, cold sweat broke out on his face. It was also fortunate that Jin Laozu fled in time, otherwise he would have been surrounded and finished. As for Jin Laozu's one-on-one battle against 100, killing the nascent soul demon in a cross-level battle, don't be funny. This joke is not funny at all. The picture is bigger. Lu Xuanji enlarged the map, and the picture on the map began to enlarge. One by one, the green dots and blue dots turned into human-shaped monks. These demon monks all turned into human forms, standing there, exuding a terrifying aura. Among them, several auras were even higher than Jin Laozu. It was fortunate that Jin Laozu evacuated in time, otherwise he might really be finished. The function of map is even greater than imagined. On the battlefield, many moments are opaque and in a blind box state. Before the fight begins, you never know how many cards the enemy has. Because of the unknown, accidents may occur at any time. With map, you can clearly see everything that happens on the battlefield, clear the fog of the battlefield, and clearly see the number, location, personal intelligence, etc. of the enemy. At the critical moment, you can give the enemy a fatal and devastating blow. Take this battle for example. Because of inaccurate intelligence, Patriarch Jin ignored the second Chindan demon cultivator, which led to him being injured. This also led to the leakage of information. If it had not been evacuated in time, they would have been almost killed. The Jian Along was moving forward, but after traveling 100 miles, it suddenly turned back and hid directly near Beihu Mountain. At this time, the key training monsters, foundation building monsters, purple mansion monsters, etc. in the 100,000 mountains all took action, opened up a net, and searched for the invading human cultivators. These searches were extremely strict. They searched every corner and observed some subtle corners. The 100,000 mountains became panic overnight. Many experienced human cultivators were unlucky and were killed by demon cultivators. The search continued with great force. They searched everywhere and caught the demon killer. Lu Xuanji looked through the map, observed the situation in the 100,000 mountains, and felt the massive search and arrest operation, secretly smacking his lips. The Jian Along continued to lurk, moving several times and hiding. It was not until 10 days later that the search began to slow down. A month later, the search ended, but the Jian Along still did not move and was still waiting patiently. Hunting prey requires patience, but it takes more patience for the prey to escape the hunt. For the hunter, if he fails countless times, he can try again, but for the prey, as long as he fails once, he will die. Ancestor Jin is very reckless, but also very cowardly. He waited patiently and recuperated in the cabin. The other monks were a little worried, but they relaxed later and also healed their wounds. As for other things, I don't want to pay attention to them. Hoo 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 hoo. Urging the Bushanding, the Bushan key condensed into a pill, named Bushandan. He gave one directly to his father, and one to the elder. After taking it, the elder's complexion improved a lot, and he was secretly amazed. But he was silent, and did not ask about the source of the Bushandan. Every cultivator has his own secrets. Don't be curious about some things. This way, it will be good for you, me and everyone. If you are too curious, you will have no friends. Half a year later, the situation gradually calmed down, and the Jyalan quietly left the Xuan Mountains and returned to their human territory. This expedition took 7 months. When they landed at Xiang Mountain, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. When Xuanji walked down the cabin, breathing the air and basking in the sun, he felt an indescribable sense of comfort. Many cultivators still stayed in Xiang Mountain, waiting for Jin Laozu to reward them according to their merits. For half a day, Patriarch Jin counted the merits and said, those who died in battle will be compensated, those who were injured will be compensated, those who made meritorious services will be rewarded, and those who were afraid to move forward will be severely punished. There are 135 immortal cultivation families participating in this battle, and 72 independent cultivators have participated in the war. I will reward you according to your merits. The Wu family of King Shu County killed 300 key training monsters, 40 foundation building monsters, and 3 purple mansion monsters, and obtained 1.4 million spirit stones. 8 foundation building cultivators were killed, and 160,000 spirit stones were given as compensation. The Yi family of King Shu County killed 100 key training monsters, 60 foundation building monsters, and 3 purple mansion monsters, and obtained 1.8 million spirit stones. 5 foundation building cultivators were killed, and 100,000 spirit stones were given as compensation. The Yi family of Beechin County killed 200 key training monsters, 50 foundation building monsters, and 4 purple mansion monsters, and obtained 1.8 million spirit stones. 9 foundation building cultivators were killed, and 180,000 spirit stones were given as compensation. The Sun family of Beechin County killed 100 key training monsters, 70 foundation building monsters, and 8 purple mansion monsters, and received 3 million spirit stones. They also lost 13 foundation building cultivators, and 1 purple mansion cultivator, and were awarded 660,000 spirit stones as compensation. The independent cultivator Taoist Xian killed 30 key training monsters, 15 foundation building monsters, and 2 purple mansion monsters, and received 700,000 spirit stones. Chapter 93, Difficulties in the Purple Mansion. One after another, they read out the merits and subsidies of the major cultivator families and individual cultivators. Soon it was the Lu family's turn. The Lu family killed 50 key training monsters and 13 foundation building monsters, and obtained 280,000 spirit stones. This is much higher than the data estimated in the previous period. Soon the list was finished. In order to reward meritorious cultivators, provide pensions to the fallen cultivators, etc., a total of 17 million spirit stones will be spent. It's a bit expensive, especially in rewards and pensions, which are the big head. But this money can't be saved. Not only can't be saved, but you have to give it generously. Otherwise, who will fight hard next time? This is just pensions and rewards, and there are also spiritual treasures damaged, elixirs consumed, talismans consumed, etc. These consumed spirit stones are not included. This means that, in order to fight this battle, the old ancestor Jin lost nearly 20 million spirit stones. A cannon sounds, and gold is worth a lot. Fighting a war, whether it is victory or defeat, will consume a lot of money. Only the old ancestor Jin is rich and can afford such a domineering battle. Others don't have the money to organize such a war. This is still based on winning this battle. If this battle, the losses are huge, the war damage is large, or the whole army is destroyed, and the money consumed is even greater, these rewards will not be directly distributed in the form of spiritual stones. If they are distributed directly, there may be inflation and market chaos. Instead, They are converted into elixirs, exercises, spiritual treasures, secret realms, spiritual mountains, spiritual veins, etc., and distributed to the cultivator families. Some can be delayed for a while before being distributed. Ancestor Jin said, I have a treasure exchange column here, and the cultivator families can send cultivators to exchange treasures. The Wu family comes first. As he said, Ancestor Jin entered the private room. The head of the Wu family entered, and after a moment, he retreated with joy on his face. Then the Yi family, the Sun family, etc., entered the private room one after another and exchanged treasures. When they came out, they were all beaming and very happy. Soon, it was the Lu family's turn. The elder said, Xuanji, go ahead and exchange it as you see fit. Okay. Lu Xuanji did not refuse and went straight into the private room. Ancestor Jin, who was sitting opposite him, waved and threw over an exchange list, saying, the items to be exchanged are listed above, so you can choose. Lu Xuanji took the list of treasures, and began to look through it. Foundation building pill, prices 15,000 spiritual stones. Purple mansion pill, prices 170,000 spiritual stones. Purple yang jade, prices 230,000 spiritual stones. Heavenly fire infinite art, can be cultivated to the late stage of golden pill. Individual purchase requires 100,000 spiritual stones. Family purchase requires 500,000 spiritual stones. Pure yang heavenly fire, grade is great divine power. Individual purchase requires 500,000 spiritual stones. Family purchase requires 1 million spiritual stones. Pure yang pill, can temper the body, purify the true essence, and increase the probability of reaching the purple mansion realm by 1 level. Price is 100,000 spiritual stones. 3 days of instruction from Patriarch Jin. The price is 200,000 spirit stones on the exchange list. There are giant and period exercises, great supernatural powers, 3rd grade elixirs, giant and instruction, etc., with a starting price of more than 100,000, and some prices are more than 1 million. Lu Xuanji smacked his lips. Money is enough to use, but it is regrettable. With 280,000 spirit stones in his pocket, he thought he was a rich man. But looking at the exchange list above, he realized that he was still poor. Many things are simply not affordable. The things above are a bit expensive, but you get what you pay for, and many things are simply not available on the market. In other words, even if you have the money to buy these, you are worried about being exposed and attracting the strong to covet and kill. But with Patriarch Jin, you can easily exchange without worrying about killing people and stealing treasures. Senior, you should tell me, what should I exchange? Lu Xuanji asked. Even if there are descriptions of the items on the exchange catalog, I still don't understand, so I'd better ask Patriarch Jin directly. Patriarch Jin nodded and said, do you know the 9 difficulties of Purple Mansion? I know a little about it, but I'm not very clear. Lu Xuanji said directly. There are 9 difficulties in the Purple Mansion: lifespan, true essence, physical body, soul, wind and fire, heaven and man, path, luck, and cause and effect. Patriarch Jin seemed to have thought of something and suggested, the lifespan of foundation building is only 240 years, which is too short. It is still easy for those with 2 spiritual roots and different spiritual roots. As for those with 3 spiritual roots who want to achieve the Purple Mansion, the difficulty is no less than that of achieving the foundation with 5 spiritual roots. If there is no great opportunity, before the lifespan is exhausted, 3 spiritual roots can at most achieve the 6th level of foundation building. This is the first difficulty. Only by taking a large amount of spiritual medicine and spiritual pills can one reach the peak of the 9th level of foundation building before the lifespan is exhausted, and have a slight chance of achieving the Purple Mansion. But taking a large amount of spiritual medicine will make the foundation superficial and the true essence impure, which will lead to the second difficulty. If you buy the pure yang pill, you can purify the true essence to the 8th level. After overcoming the first 2 difficulties, your elder can step into the half-step Purple Mansion. Thank you, Senior. Lu Xuanji said, I got the pure yang pill in a fortuitous encounter, which can help the elder purify it to the 8th level. He didn't have the pure yang pill, but he had the Bushanding. When the Bushanding entered the 2nd grade spiritual tool, it could purify the true essence to the 8th level, which could replace some of the effects of the pure yang pill. Hey, you're lucky. Jin Liaozu said, but the 3rd difficulty requires opening up 108 small meridians in the human body, 1000 tiny meridians, and 100,000 fine meridians. Forget it, this is too difficult for you 3 spiritual roots. You 3 spiritual roots can directly open up 108 small meridians, and you will pass it. You need to open up 365 acupoints in the human body. These 2 difficulties require the purple yang pill. If you are a 2nd spiritual root, you only need 1 purple yang pill, but a 3rd spiritual root needs 3 purple yang pills. The 3rd difficulty, to strengthen the soul, you need the purple yang jade. A 2nd spiritual root only needs 1, and a 3rd spiritual root needs 3. The 4th difficulty, the 5th difficulty, the 6th difficulty, this is half of life and death. If you don't pass it, you will die. As for the 4 difficulties behind, they affect the height of the future. Now, do you know the difficulty of the purple mansion? Lu Xuanji bowed and thanked him. Only with the guidance of the senior can I know the difficulty of the purple mansion. The Lu family once gave birth to 3 purple mansion cultivators. They left notes and recorded the 9 difficulties of the purple mansion, but they were all vague and not detailed. It only said that the probability of achieving the purple mansion with 3 spiritual roots is 1 in 10, the 3rd level with 2 spiritual roots, the 5th level with different spiritual roots, and only the heavenly spiritual roots will inevitably enter the purple mansion. It only said that the pure yang pill, the purple yang pill, the purple yang jade, etc. can assist in cultivation and help break through the limit. As for why it is so, as for the 9 difficulties, the specific difficulty and the specific process are not described. I didn't understand it at the time, but I understand it now. Not explaining it clearly is just to prevent some foundation building cultivators from despairing. Many times, ignorance is bliss. At least ignorant people will not see the difficult side. Chapter 94, Immortal Magic Immortal Blood Pill. Ignorance is bliss. At least in the eyes of some cultivators, as long as they get a purple mansion pill, they are not far from the purple mansion realm, and they have 3 or even 5 layers to enter the purple mansion realm. But in fact, they are still a long way from the purple mansion realm. This is a white lie. Once a cultivator falls into despair, he will do all kinds of incredible things, and even go to the devil's way. The real purple mansion is harder than imagined. Everyone in the world says that there is a 1% chance of entering the purple mansion for 3 spiritual roots, but that is a lie. In fact, the probability of entering the purple mansion for 3 spiritual roots is less than 1%, which is no less than the 5 spiritual roots of building a foundation. Not to mention other things, just 3 pure yang pills, 3 purple mansion pills, 3 purple yang jades, and 3 nirvana pills are difficult for most 3 spiritual roots. As for the 2nd spiritual roots and different spiritual roots, the difficulty of achieving the purple mansion is still beyond the imagination of the world. It is true that the heavenly spiritual roots can achieve the purple mansion 100%. Hearing this, have you ever despaired? Said the old ancestor Jin. There is no despair. Lu Xuanji said casually. What's wrong with 3 spiritual roots? If it works, it's good. If it doesn't work, you have to fight for a while. If you don't fight, it means you admit defeat, which is too much of a loss. Jin Liaozu smiled and said, I have a method that can increase your chances of achieving the purple mansion. What method? Lu Xuanji asked, with some guesses in his mind. The magic way. Jin Liaozu said, the magic way has great disadvantages, but it can help you enter the purple mansion realm. This seems to be the only way out. The magic way kills all living beings to feed yourself. It is bloody and cruel. I won't take this path. If you lose too many things, and lose the bottom line of being a human being for the sake of immortality, you don't have to ask for such immortality. Lu Xuanji said firmly. Pedant, you know that many righteous cultivators also practice the magic way. While they kill demons and eliminate monsters, they also change the names of some magic ways, and replace some contents to turn them into righteous ways. Ancestor Jin said, some cultivators in the immortal way are very evil. I have my persistence. Lu Xuanji said. I have a magic method that does not require killing living beings, but it is very dangerous. If you are not careful, you will go astray and explode to death. Ancestor Jin said, I'll give this to you, and this pill can be used as an auxiliary. As he spoke, he threw a book over. On the book was written Immortal Magic Art. Xuanji flipped through it. It recorded a set of supreme magic arts, which could temper the body and strengthen the ki in blood. If practiced to a high level, it could be transformed into the immortal magic body. The immortal magic body is comparable to the top physiques such as the innate Tao body, the immortal sword body, the Taiyin holy body, and the Nine Yang holy body. Flipping to the back, it was written directly that it was very dangerous. It was easy for evil thoughts to enter the body and die from possession. If you take the immortal blood pill, you can reduce the risk and get started quickly. Opening the box, there was an immortal blood pill inside. There were 9 pill patterns engraved on it, with terrifying ki and blood contained in it, and the medicinal power was terrifying. Xuanji had a feeling that, if he took it directly, he would be blown up by the medicinal power. Some things I forgot to modify. Patriarch Jin seemed to have thought of something. He waved his hand to take the martial arts method and modified the pages. The immortal magic skill became immortal divine body. Some of the contents inside were also deleted and re-edited. Finally, he handed it to Xuanji. Xuanji flipped through it and was speechless. Only the name was changed, and the martial arts method inside was slightly deleted and modified, but the essence remained unchanged. It's like Zhao Shuren became Lu Xun. What Lu Xun said has nothing to do with me, Zhao Shuren. Senior, to refine the immortal blood pill, you need the essence and blood of 100,000 civilians. Xuanji frowned. Don't worry. Patriarch Jin said, this deity is not a bloodthirsty person, so I will naturally not massacre civilians. At that time, I cut off one of the arms of the blood transformation witch, used her arm to extract the essence from it, and refined it into the immortal blood pill. As long as you take this pill, you can enter the immortal magic art and condenser, pseudo-immortal divine body. Your aptitude is comparable to that of a second spiritual root, and your hope of entering the purple mansion is much greater, instead of being far away, like it is now. A huge temptation is in front of him. Xuanji pondered and was tempted, but after a moment, he thought of something, and bowed and said, I'm sorry senior. You said Jin Leozu angrily, with endless murderous aura. He was rejected the first time he wanted to become a disciple, and he was also rejected the second time he was given the immortal magic art. The junior was too bold. I'm sorry senior. Xuanji said firmly, there is a first time in life, and there will be a second time. The bottom line is broken again and again. It is best not to have a first time. The immortal magic art is not my way, and I will not take the path of cannibalism to prove my truth. The path of the devil may not be wrong, but it is not suitable for him. Jin Leozu said, this is the second time. Ancestor, I need a purple mansion pill, a growing bone pill, and I also need heavenly spirit iron, Mother Earth magnetism, 5-colored soil, and the stone of creation, Xuanji said, talking about the items to be exchanged. Purple mansion pill, this is prepared for your family's eldest elder. The growing bone pill can grow an arm for your father. But the remaining refining materials, why? Asked Ancestor Jin. I want to refine my own spiritual treasure. Xuanji said. You already have 3 natal magic weapons, and 1 more will drag you down. Ancestor Jin persuaded tactfully. Senior, I have my own way. Xuanji said firmly. Well, Ancestor Jin was too lazy to persuade. He took out a box, and then took out some refining materials, and put them on the table. Xuanji bowed his hands in thanks, and put these things into the storage bag. Finally, he bowed respectfully again, turned around and left. Walking out of the private room, Xuanji saw the elder and nodded. The elder breathed a sigh of relief. Without staying for long, the 3 of them left here, and headed towards Changyuan Mountain. Returning to Changyuan Mountain, Xuanji handed the purple mansion pill to the elder, and the bone growing pill to his father. Opening the box, and looking at the purple pill, the elder sobbed. Purple mansion pill is extremely hard to find. On the market, the price of purple mansion pill is 150,000 spirit stones, but many times it is out of stock. On the market, many purple mansion pills are digested internally as soon as they appear. To buy purple mansion pill, you need not only enough spirit stones, but also connections. If it were a normal time, the Lu family might not be able to buy the purple mansion pill, even if they had accumulated 200,000 spirit stones. Only this time, they could have the opportunity to exchange for the purple mansion pill in response to the call of the Jin Patriarch. Grand Elder, the purple mansion pill can only maintain its efficacy for 15 years at most. You must seize the time and enter the 9th level of foundation building as soon as possible. Lu Xuanji reminded. Of course. The Grand Elder said excitedly, in 5 years at most, you can enter the 9th level of foundation building. The Grand Elder said, and hurriedly went into seclusion. Father Lu Jinwen also went into seclusion to use the bone growing pill to grow his broken arm. Chapter 95. Bu Shanding Swallow Shanding. Whoosh. The underground fire surged out from the ground, and after being restrained by the formation on the refractory bricks, it turned into an orange-yellow flame and rose above the ground. Above the flame was a large tripod. The tripod had 3 legs, a round belly, and 2 ears. Heavenly crystals, wood of vitality, jade of creation, etc. entered the tripod one after another, and along with the burning of the underground fire, they turned into streams of liquid, pure and flawless, without much impurities. With the traction of the true essence, these liquids began to merge into the tripod, improving the grade of the tripod. Shishi. The liquid was slowly merging into the tripod, and improving the quality of the tripod. After half a day, the initial fusion was completed. Then, another talisman appeared in the void, like a bird talisman, a dragon walking, and a snake flying, an iron hook and a silver stroke, merging into the tripod. A moment later, the second talisman merged into the tripod, one after another, and finally 18 talismans flashed in the tripod, with golden light and bursts of Taoist music. The underground fire was burning, constantly burning its roots, and impurities were expelled one after another. About half an hour later, the underground fire began to gradually extinguish. The light of the big tripod was converging, and it turned into an ancient bronze tripod again, which was not amazing in appearance, ordinary and quiet. The second grade spiritual weapon is done. Lu Xuanji flashed a trace of joy. He put away the Bu Shanding, and entered the Danshan, and the true essence entered the big tripod. But the Bu Shanding was running non-stop, purifying the true essence. After a while, a trace of true essence was spit out. The amount of true essence was decreasing, but it became more pure, just like an ordinary piece of iron turning into fine steel. The true essence was purified to the 8th level. The Bu Shanding is worthy of its name of Bu Shanding, which can make up for the innate deficiencies of cultivators. A 2nd level spiritual root needs a pure yang pill to purify the true essence to the 8th level. A 3rd level spiritual root needs 3 pure yang pills to purify the true essence to the 8th level. If there is no pure yang pill, it can only take 20 to 30 years to polish the true essence and purify the quality of the true essence. But with the Bu Shanding, it only takes 2 years to polish the true essence to the 7th level. The Bu Shanding can be lent to the elder, but it is best to borrow the name of the Jin Patriarch, otherwise there will be trouble. Lu Xuanji pondered. Many immortal cultivation families perished, largely because of the unclear public and private. Too much was given, so the family perished. Practicing the skills, using the Bu Shanding to purify the true essence, the true essence went in and out, and the quality was improving during the continuous tempering. As the quality of the true essence increased, Lu Xuanji used it to refine his meridians, danshan, body, blood, bones, and internal organs. There was no place on his body that was neglected, and all of them were refined. After building the foundation, not only the amount of true essence increased, the quality of true essence improved, but also the physique was steadily improved with the help of true essence refinement. After a year, the true essence refinement was over, and every trace of true essence was amazingly lethal. Sizzle. A true essence hit the floor, and a hole was made on the solid stone slab. Amazing power. In the cave, Lu Xuanji took out the Shineling Iron, the mother magnet of the earth, the 5-color soil, the stone of creation, etc., and began to refine the 4th natal treasure, the Xianshanding. Xianshanding, a Yinding. 4 legs, square belly, 2 ears. One by one, the materials began to melt and began to be refined. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, 15 years had passed. In the cave, a square tripod stood tall. The square tripod was about 1 meter high, majestic and domineering. Whoosh! Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. The big tripod was successfully refined. The difficulty of refining the heaven-swallowing tripod was beyond imagination. It was only a second grade one, but it had to be stopped many times, and the refining direction had to be adjusted many times. Some materials were scrapped, but fortunately it was successfully refined. Whoosh! The heaven-swallowing tripod was running, and the spiritual energy around it flowed into the inside of the big tripod like a tide. Gradually, pure spiritual liquid appeared at the bottom of the big tripod. These spiritual liquids were transformed from the spiritual energy absorbed by the heaven-swallowing tripod. They were pure and flawless, and could be directly absorbed and refined. The effect was similar to that of spiritual stones. The spiritual liquid condensed every day was equivalent to 10 spiritual stones. The spiritual liquid was easy to evaporate. I tried to store it in some magic tools, but it dissipated the next day. Only in the heaven-swallowing tripod could it be preserved for a long time. The spiritual liquid condensed every day was equivalent to 10 spiritual stones, which means 3,600 spiritual stones a year. 10 years, 100 years, or 1,000 years. Over the years, the amount of accumulated resources is amazing, which is equivalent to a rich spiritual mine, and it is mined endlessly. The heaven-swallowing cauldron is worthy of the name of heaven-swallowing cauldron, which swallows the creation of heaven and earth for its own use. Thinking of this, Xuanji smiled happily, very happily. 3 spiritual roots. After the foundation building, there is not much advantage. 3 spiritual roots to achieve the purple mansion is no less than 5 spiritual roots to build the foundation. There is almost no hope. Maybe when the lifespan is exhausted, it is only the 6th level of the foundation building. It seems to be the only hope to embark on the road of magic. However, the combination of the heaven-swallowing cauldron and the heaven-burn cauldron greatly increases the hope of achieving the purple mansion. The heaven-swallowing cauldron converts the spiritual energy into pure spiritual liquid, which can be absorbed by spiritual stones. To increase the speed of cultivation, the heaven-burn cauldron purifies the true essence, which perfectly makes up for the true essence emptiness and unstable foundation caused by swallowing pills and refining spiritual stones. The combination of the two has increased the hope of achieving the purple mansion from less than 1% in the past to 10%. I'm already 80 years old. Xuanji calculated his age and suddenly sighed. Time flies, day and night. At the age of 6, he awakened his spiritual roots and embarked on the road of cultivating immortals. He learned the basic knowledge of the cultivation world for 3 years, entered the first level of key training at the age of 9, and almost promoted 1 level every 4 years on average, and achieved the foundation building at the age of 49. Now, he is 80 years old. On Earth, 60 is 60, 70 is 70, and 80 is 80. On Earth, he is already an octogenarian. But in the world of cultivation, he is just a young man. The age of cultivators is not divided by years, but by the proportion of lifespan. 20% of the lifespan is youth before, 20% to 40% is youth, 40% to 60% is middle-aged, and more than 60% gradually enter the old age. The lifespan of foundation building is 240 years, and he is only 1/3 of the lifespan at the age of 80, and he is still a young man. This is why many old cultivators quickly recover from the old age to the middle-aged appearance after breaking through the realm, as if they have rejuvenated. Because after the breakthrough, the lifespan has increased significantly, and the proportion of life has returned to middle age, or even youth. In the foundation building period, the lifespan is too short. This is why Xuanji mainly studied the spiritual plant master, and skipped the alchemy. Because there is no time. It takes at least 30 years to make a small success in alchemy. But for a foundation building cultivator, it takes several more 30 years. There is not enough time for cultivation, so where is the time to learn alchemy? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96, Cultivation Industrial Age. Once, Xuanji thought of using mobile phones as a basis for big data computing and opening up the era of the cultivation industry. He just calculated for a moment and gave up. To establish a large industry, you need a huge market, free circulation of goods, and protection of private property. But in the world of cultivation, it is impossible. First of all, many cultivation families are in a self-sufficient state. Spiritual rice, elixirs, spiritual medicines, spiritual tools, etc. can all be produced and sold by themselves, and there is no need for an external market. What is purchased from outside is mainly high-level elixirs or high-level spiritual tools, etc. The quantity is small, and the transaction scale is small. There is a lack of market for the development of the cultivation industry. Secondly, there are monsters, casual cultivators, and magic cultivators in the wild, and killing and robbing often occur, and goods cannot circulate freely. Even though many sects prohibit killing and robbing treasures, they are still repeatedly banned. In the wilderness, it is basically a lawless place, and killing continues. Finally, the strong are respected in the world of cultivation, and killing continues. For some interests, the immortal families fight constantly. For some spiritual minds, spiritual veins, etc., the cultivation sects often fight constantly. In the world of cultivation, there is no such thing as protecting private property. It often happens that the strong plunder the treasures of the weak. There is a motto in the world of cultivation that it is not important to have how many spiritual stones you have, the key is to see whether you have the strength to protect your spiritual stones. After the death of the Purple Mansion patriarch, the Liu family decisively cut some minerals, some markets, some spiritual veins, etc. to some immortal cultivation families to exchange interests and gain peace. If the Liu family is not strong enough, but occupies a large number of markets, mineral veins, etc., even if some families are afraid of the Danliang sect's rules and will not take action, there will be scattered cultivators, or demon cultivators to attack, and then the Liu family will really be in danger of extinction. Similarly, if he develops the cultivation industry, invents some machines, improves the efficiency of alchemy, the efficiency of refining, reduces costs, etc., this may bring some benefits to the Liu family, but it will bring more disasters to the Liu family. A certain Purple Mansion boss wants to purchase the Liu family's equipment. Will the Liu family sell it or not? The advantages of large-scale industry are high efficiency and high profits. Many capitalists pursue profits when developing industry. But in this world, many immortal cultivation families and sects are mainly based on planned economy, self-production and self-sales economy, and pursue safety, followed by efficiency and profit. In such an era, the development of the cultivation industry lacks both market demand and environment, and it is unnecessary. Of course, it is not impossible to develop the large-scale cultivation industry. If he becomes the master of a world, he can integrate the power of the whole world, and then he can develop large-scale industry. As for now, he is just a foundation-building cultivator. If he wants to develop large-scale industry, if he is lucky, his industry will be acquired. If he is unlucky, he may violate the interests of a big force and be directly killed by a big boss. Even if he becomes the master of a world in the future, he does not plan to develop large-scale industry. Because large-scale industry is essentially the integration of human resources, turning humans into screws. In the world of cultivation, a capitalist society is established, an exploitative society is established, and humans are constantly exploited, becoming slaves of money. Everything revolves around money. Becoming a person like Grandad, what is the meaning of living for 10,000 years? In such an environment, life is very depressing and tiring. Cultivating immortals is for the sake of freedom and longevity. As a result, after cultivating immortals, they make themselves very tired and live very depressed. Such longevity is really meaningless. The world of cultivation is mainly slow-paced, slow and orderly. Those cultivators with poor qualifications give up advancing to a higher realm, enjoy life as the main thing, and live very freely. Those cultivators with good qualifications advance easily, improve their cultivation easily, and live freely. Most cultivators live freely. Those who live tired are mainly those cultivators with poor qualifications, but do not give up the great way. For example, if the 5 spiritual roots are poor, but still want to build a foundation, they have to hunt monsters everywhere, or kill people to rob treasures, or find pills to sell for money, or look for adventures everywhere. They get tired, because they don't give up. For example, some cultivators have limited qualifications, and cannot become Purple Mansion cultivators, but they do not give up, and pursue that 1 in 10,000 chance, so they naturally live very tired. But if the industrial age is opened, all people will live very tired, thinking about the scenes of involution in the previous life, and the scenes of the whole nation living very tired. Xuanji decisively gave up the idea of developing large-scale industry, and decided not to harm the cultivators in the world of cultivation. Ancestor, I'll lend this to you temporarily. In the living room, Xuanji met the elder again. The elder broke through the barrier 3 years ago, and became the 9th level of foundation building. After another 3 years of polishing and accumulation, he has the possibility of impacting the Purple Mansion period. He took out the Xuanji, and talked about its specific functions. Xuanji, did it come from the old ancestor Jin? The elder asked. Only the old ancestor Jin had such a magical furnace. That's right. Seeing that the elder had misunderstood, Xuanji nodded, and didn't intend to explain. He said directly, this cauldron can replace the pure yang pill, and purify the true essence. You can use it secretly, don't spread it. Of course, I will rot in my stomach. The elder said excitedly, seeming a little unbelievable. How much does it cost to rent the Xuanji? 5,000 spirit stones. Xuanji said. Ancestor Jin treats you so well. If your parents were not still alive, I would have thought you were his illegitimate son, and his biological son is no more than this. The elder said with some emotion. 5,000 spirit stones to rent the Xuanji is almost a bargain. Xuanji was speechless, but these things could not be explained, nor could they be explained clearly. I'm going to retreat, the elder said. He disappeared and went to retreat in the cave. He was already 180 years old, and his remaining lifespan was not much. He did not have the capital to endure time and polish his true essence. With the help of the Xuanji, the time for polishing the true essence was shortened. Xuanji returned to the cave to retreat again, refining spirit stones, and improving his cultivation. 3 years later, Xuanji's aura changed, and he had already entered the peak of the 3rd level of foundation building, and was just a little short of entering the 4th level of foundation building. When he walked out of the cave, he was in a good mood. Soon, he saw Yifixu. The aura on Yifixu was obscure and ethereal. What realm are you in? Xuanji asked. Recently, I just entered the 8th level of foundation building, Yifixu said casually. This tone was as casual as if she had eaten a piece of cake at night. The 8th level of foundation building is too fast. Xuanji covered his chest. His heart was hit hard. This is the scene of a poor student being hit hard by a top student. Chapter 97 Yi Family Marriage. The poor student once thought that he could catch up with the top student by working hard. But in fact, the poor student worked hard, but he was still not as good as the top student. Why don't you go to heaven? No. She is a family of heavenly spiritual roots. She is a congenital Deo fetus, and she is the rhythm of heaven. Congratulations, you have reached the 8th level of foundation building, and I think the 9th level of foundation building is not far away. The heavenly spiritual roots are known as the sons of heaven. It is said that there is no bottleneck at all, and you will definitely become a golden elixir master. I think in 100 years, you will surpass the golden ancestor. After all, the golden ancestor is only a 2nd spiritual root, not as good as your talent. Xuanji sighed, his eyes full of envy. In the past, when I was young and ignorant, I thought that the golden elixir was nothing, and the nascent soul was nothing. When I was older, I realized how far away the Purple Mansion was. I just practiced faster. After I become the Purple Mansion, I will find the original spiritual objects for my brother. At that time, my brother will refine the original spiritual objects and turn them into spiritual bodies. The future of the Purple Mansion is promising, Yifixu said. Silly child, even giant and cultivators are eager to obtain the original spiritual objects. How can you get them? Xuanji smiled and broke her fantasy in one fell swoop and said with a smile, if you really want to, don't be sad if I unfortunately die. If you are lucky enough to prove the Dalo Deo, remember to resurrect me from the long river of time. Yifixu said, when a person dies, it is like a lamp going out. How can there be reincarnation? If a person dies, how can there be a second life? Brother, don't fool me. Xuanji smiled. Dalo can travel through the long river of time and change the past. Of course, many times, changing the past is meaningless. Those who are too strong cannot be changed. Those who are too weak have no meaning to change. I don't ask for anything else. If I die and prove the Dalo Deo, remember to resurrect me. Yifixu said, brother, you think too highly of me. Xuanji suddenly looked into the void and said, legend has it that the Dalo Jinxen can swim in the long river of time and peek into the past. Who knows, your future body at the Dalo Jinxen level is spying on us. Yifixu said, brother, you are talking nonsense again. It felt like her brother had become stupid. Just then, footsteps were heard, and his father Lu Jinwen appeared. Son, there is something good for you here. Lu Jinwen was about to speak, but when he saw a flash of embarrassment in Yifixu's eyes, he said, Xiaoxu, I'm sorry for you here. What happened, father? Xuanji said uneasily. The Yi family wants to form an alliance with my Lu family, and you are the marriage partner. Lu Jinwen said a little embarrassedly. But I already have a Taoist partner. Xiaoxu is my Taoist partner. Xuanji frowned. Lu Jinwen said, the ancestor of the Yi family has come to the door in person, and your mother is receiving him. You should go and meet him. Yi Liuan, the ancestor of the purple mansion of the Yi family. The Lu family was kind to him back then, and this ancestor was also very grateful to the Lu family. Over the years, he has withstood some storms for the Lu family. Xuanji said, I didn't expect that the joke turned out to be true. Last time in the private room, Yizu stopped him and talked about the marriage. He thought it was a joke, but he didn't expect it to be true. Husband, you go. Yifixu said calmly, but her heart was not calm at all. Alas. Xuanji was a little overwhelmed and left with an apology. Yifixu leaned against the wall of the cave. Her mind was fluctuating, and a trace of anger flashed in her eyes. She was cheated. But can all this be blamed on her brother? No. It's all the fault of the Yi family. In the living room, Mother Yi Xinlan was greeting the ancestor of the Yi family. Mother Yi Xinlan was born in the Yi family, but she belonged to a side branch. Mother's qualifications are not good, only 5 spiritual roots, and she is a marginal figure in the Yi family. Back then, when mother married into the Lu family, there was no waves. Because of some relationships, the Wu family, Yi family, Sun family, Lu family and other families, there are marriages among the lower level cultivators, and they are intertwined and closely connected. Marriage is one of the important means to maintain the relationship between each other. Meetings. Elder Yi. Xuanji stepped forward and said respectfully, not bad, not bad, with a solid foundation, a bone age of 85 years old, which is the 3rd level of foundation building, and an average of 1 level every 10 years, and you can enter the 9th level of foundation building at the age of 140, which is considered outstanding. Yi Liuan said, with a flash of admiration in his eyes. Nothing else, just consume more spirit stones. Xuanji said frankly, he is a person with 3 spirit roots with poor aptitude. Before his lifespan is exhausted, he can only enter the 6th level of foundation building. This is true. The premise is that he does not take elixirs, does not refine spirit stones, and purely relies on the absorption and exhalation of external spiritual energy. But if he spends money, the speed will be much faster. Yi Liuan said, an ancestor of the main line of my Yi family said that he wants to marry with the Lu family. Similarly, Elder Jin also looks favorably on your Lu family and cultivates your Lu family. These are the basis for marriage. I hope you don't refuse. He talked about interest disputes as soon as he opened his mouth, not about feelings and affection. I already have a Taoist partner. Xuanji said. I know. Yi Liuan said, but this won't hinder our marriage. Here, let me show you. As he said that, he threw a booklet over. Lu Xuanji reached out to take the booklet and subconsciously flipped through it. On the booklet, there were pictures of beauties and some information about them. Yixian, 3 spiritual roots, 75 years old, 3rd level of foundation building, daughter of the head of the Yi family, 2nd grade alchemist, Yixin Iao, 3 spiritual roots, 100 years old, 4th level of foundation building, daughter of the 2nd elder of the Yi family, 2nd grade formation master, Yi Honglian. 3 spiritual roots, 130 years old, 3rd level of foundation building, daughter of the side branch of the Yi family, 2nd grade talisman maker, Zhao Wanyu. 3 spiritual roots, 150 years old, 4th level of foundation building, daughter of a guest official of the Yi family, husband of a spiritual plant, Bei Mengxi. 3 spiritual roots, 10 years old, 3rd level of key training, daughter of a guest official of the Yi family, no special skills, Meng Hangchen. 3 spiritual roots, 15 years old, 4th level of key training, daughter of a guest official of the Yi family, no special skills. He looked carefully again, and the information of 10 women was recorded in the book, with pictures on it. They all had amazing looks, outstanding temperament, and amazing charm, and they all had 3 spiritual roots. The youngest was only 6 years old, and the oldest was already 150 years old. The lowest in terms of cultivation was only the 1st level of key training, but the strongest one was the 6th level of foundation building. It seemed that those women with 4 spiritual roots and 5 spiritual roots were not worthy of being on the book. Of course, there were no 2 spiritual roots, different spiritual roots, etc. Senior, what do you mean by this? Lu Xuanji asked. These women are all unmarried women of the Yi family. They all have 3 spiritual roots. It's not an insult to you. Yi Liuan said, you can choose one of them as a Taoist partner. Chapter 98 Family Cultivation. Lu Xuanji took a quick look at the appearance of the woman in the book, but didn't delve too deeply into it. There are no ugly women in the world of cultivation. The cultivators are in harmony with the heaven and earth, and the spiritual energy cleanses their bodies and bones, so they all have outstanding appearances. Moreover, the more powerful the woman is, the more beautiful she is. As for the few female cultivators who have become ugly, most of them are caused by the practice, or they are running out of life and entering old age, unable to maintain their youthful appearance. Looking at the list, Lu Xuanji had a slight headache. He didn't know how to answer. Ancestor Yi came with sincerity, and directly refusing would not be a slap in the face of this ancestor. Hitting the face of a purple mansion ancestor will make the Yi family suffer in the future. This Yi ancestor has helped the Lu family a lot, and it would be unreasonable to refuse directly. But accepting a woman may reveal some of his secrets, and may reveal the secret of Yi Fixushan's spiritual roots. Ancestor, I already have a Taoist partner, and it is not suitable. If a woman from the Yi family enters my room, how will the status be calculated? Is she a wife or a concubine? Lu Xuanji considered. If the ancestor wants to arrange a marriage, he can find other young people in the Lu family. They are good among the young generation's geniuses. Haha, mortals have wives and concubines, and they have status. But we cultivators don't care about these. What matters is mutual support, and seeking the great way together. Yi Liuan smiled and said, as for who has a higher status, let the sisters discuss it. Those young people in the Lu family are not worthy of my personal visit. At this point, Yi Liuan couldn't help but scolded. You young man, you are so long-winded, and not straightforward at all. Lu Xuanji said, Junior is obsessed with the great way, and has no time for men and women. Junior, why do you practice cultivation? Yi Liuan asked. Of course, it is for immortality. Lu Xuanji said firmly. Cultivators want to live forever, but how many of them can achieve it? Yi Liuan said, immortality is too slim. How many people can achieve the purple mansion, and how many can achieve the golden core? Immortality is hard to come by, so many cultivators choose to take in wives and concubines and leave offspring, one generation after another, living in the memories of future generations. Isn't this another kind of immortality? Cultivators like us should not only live for ourselves, but also for our families. Those Yuanying ancestors and Jiandan ancestors, when they reach a certain age, will take in dozens or even hundreds of female cultivators to increase the number of offspring. Only when there are many children can there be so-called Chindan families and Yuanying families. Without offspring, no matter how many treasures and inheritances there are, who will they be left to? Lu Xuanji said, Senior, why do you think so highly of me? At the beginning, the ancestor of the main vein just said that he wanted to win you over. I just nodded and didn't care too much. But after reading some information, I found that you are not simple. Yi Liuan said, the first time I noticed you was after you became a foundation building cultivator. You were very inconspicuous back then. You only had 3 spiritual roots, and you hadn't awakened any special physique. If nothing unexpected happened, the 6th level of foundation building would be your limit. But you have refreshed my understanding time and time again. First, Patriarch Jin planned to accept you as his disciple. That was luck, said Lu Xuanji. Yi Liuan waved his hand, stopped him from talking, and said, that was only the first time. It was fine. But the second time, during the battle at Beihu Mountain, you used Heavenly Fire Art and Spring Breeze Spirit Wood Art. Both of these minor magical powers reached the stage of great success. This shows that you have a high level of comprehension. Many Purple Mansion Masters are not as comprehension as you. Especially the great success of Spring Breeze Spirit Wood Art means that you have become a 2nd level spiritual plant husband. If you are lucky enough to cultivate Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art to perfection, you can become a 3rd grade spiritual plant master, but it is impossible to cultivate Spring Breeze Wood Spirit Art to perfection. It is too difficult. You have a 3-level probability of becoming a Purple Mansion Master, which is worth a gamble for my Yi family. If you win the gamble, you will gain hundreds of years of friendship with the Lu family and gain a Purple Mansion son-in-law. If you lose the gamble, the loss is not big, just the loss of a female cultivator of the Yi family. Lu Xuanji listened, sweating all over. This ancestor of the Yi family saw through everything. Lu Xuanji said, is it worth it? Sacrificing a woman's happiness for the benefit of the family? Yi Liuan smiled and said, born in my Yi family, as a female cultivator of the Yi family, I must contribute to my family. It is impossible to eat my family's food at ordinary times and leave at the critical moment. At this time, there was a hearty laugh. Greetings, Senior. The elder came out of retreat and stepped forward. Not bad, not bad. You have entered the half-step Purple Mansion. Yi Liuan suddenly felt something and asked directly. It's just luck. I can break through, only if the old ancestor Jin lends me a treasure. The elder took out the Bushanding and waved his hand to Lu Xuanji. There was a sense of showing off in the action. There was even a sense of bullying. Lending a treasure to the Lu family to help him break through. This is the old ancestor Jin's respect for the Lu family. There is a sense of intimidation to the Yi family. The old ancestor said again. 3 years later, Xuanji will go to the Yi family for a blind date, and then we can talk about other things. Okay. Yi Liuan nodded and said, see you in 3 years. He said goodbye and left. Great elder, how many tribulations have you overcome? Lu Xuanji asked curiously. I spent 2 years compressing my true essence and refining it to the 8th level. I also took the Purple Palace pill and opened up 108 small meridians in the human body, overcoming the 3rd tribulation. The remaining medicinal power can only open up 100 acupoints. Next, I have to practice the water grinding technique, which will take 20 years, to overcome the 4th tribulation. Now, it's only 3.5 tribulations. The great elder said calmly, but he was not calm at all. Lu Xuanji asked, Grandmaster, 3 years later, I won't really go to the Yi family, will I? Go, why not? The great elder sat on the chair, poured himself a cup of tea, and said calmly, Xuanji, your mentality is not good. You must re-recognize yourself, and re-examine your potential. I can't feel it at ordinary times. But when I stepped into the half-step Purple Mansion, I knew the 9 difficulties of the Purple Mansion, and how difficult each step forward is. But Grandmaster Yi said that you have a 3-level probability of achieving the Purple Mansion. This is overestimating you, and is also a proof of your potential. Once you become the Purple Mansion, it will change the pattern of the Lu family and even the pattern of several nearby forces. The most important thing is that Grandmaster Jin plans to support my Lu family, to fight against the nearby Yi family, Wu family, Sun family and other forces. The great elder said, "Here, we don't talk about feelings or love, but about reality and interests. In the world of cultivation, families, sects, and independent cultivators seem to have different powers, but they are essentially similar. To survive, one must become strong, or rely on a strong person. A foundation building cultivator can create a family of immortal cultivators and shelter tens of thousands of people. A purple mansion cultivator can shelter millions of people. A golden elixir cultivator can shelter even more families. Independent cultivators, various markets, etc. But the lifespan of a foundation building cultivator is only 240 years, and he will die. Once a foundation building cultivator of a family of immortal cultivators dies, and there is no new foundation building cultivator to replace him, the family of immortal cultivators will collapse, either being divided up, annexed, or being slaughtered and enslaved. The world of cultivation is essentially the cruelest jungle world, where the strong prey on the weak, and there is constant killing and bloodshed. The most important thing is to cultivate talents. Those foundation building seeds and purple mansion seeds are the hope and future of a force. But it takes a lot of resources to cultivate geniuses. 3 spiritual roots, 2 spiritual roots, and different spiritual roots all need a steady supply of resources to grow up. Only when a second Zifu is born in the Zifu family can it be considered relatively stable and able to withstand greater risks. But in Qingshu County, whether it is the Yi family, the Lu family, the Wu family, or the Sun family, none of them can give birth to a second Zifu master. Why is that? The elder raised the question, and proposed an assessment. Chapter 99 Chess Pieces. The upper level controls high level resources. Lu Xuanji pondered. That's right. The great elder said, the upper level will rhythmically control the leakage of high level resources. Many rare resources are not only expensive, but also small in quantity. In many cases, they are out of stock. The price of pure yang pearl is 100,000 spirit stones. The price of purple mansion pearl is 150,000 spirit stones. And the price of purple yang jade is 200,000 spirit stones. In many cases, it is not that the price is expensive, but that there is no product at all. Even if there is product, it will take 10 or 20 years. The lack of high-level resources makes it difficult for the purple mansion to be cultivated. The reason why ancestor Lu Fuming was able to enter the purple mansion was that he had 2 spiritual roots and he obtained 3 purple mansion pills in an adventure. Originally, my Lu family had fallen, and it was very difficult to give birth to a purple mansion cultivator, but the appearance of ancestor Jin was an opportunity. It seems that occupying Xiang Mountain has made my Lu family feel indebted. Secondly, in order to fight against the monsters in the 10,000 mountains and some ancestors of the Danliang school, Ancestor Jin also needs to support and cultivate grassroots forces. Finally, in order to balance the purple mansion's Yuxin families in the 2 counties, he also plans to cultivate some forces. Under such circumstances, my Lu family was chosen. This is the luck of the Lu family, and it is also your luck, the elder said with some joy. If the superior uses you, it proves that you are useful. If you are useful, you can climb up and have a chance to turn over. If you are not useful, you may be a salted fish for the rest of your life. Many times, choice is more important than hard work. When Jin Leozu arrived in Qingshu County and took charge of Beichan County, his power was relatively weak. In order to fight against some giant ancestors, some monsters, and to balance the major forces, he had to choose to fight one faction and pull another. Fighting one faction mainly means fighting against local snakes and those disobedient immortal cultivation forces. In a specific case, when he went to Beihu Mountain, he directly destroyed 8 immortal cultivation families. Pulling one faction mainly means those weak foundation building families. Fortunately, the Lu family became the pawn of Jin Leozu and became a force in the pull faction. Can the Lu family refuse? No. After refusing, the Lu family will completely decline. But if they become the pawn of Jin Leozu, the Lu family will become the Zifu family again in the future, or even go further. Of course, not everyone is qualified to be a pawn. If the chess piece is not good enough, unqualified, or does not meet the standard, Patriarch Jin does not mind throwing away the chess piece and replacing it with a new one. The reason is not complicated. The elder only gave a brief reminder, and Lu Xuanji understood it. When you are weak, it is not shameful to be a chess piece of the strong. The marriage between the Yi family and my Lu family is based on my talent and qualifications, and on the face of Patriarch Jin. Lu Xuanji said, but will this offend Patriarch Jin? No, because Patriarch Jin doesn't care. The elder said, even if I enter the purple mansion, how many swords can I block from Patriarch Jin? Lu Xuanji was speechless. What about the purple mansion? Patriarch Jin can destroy it with one sword. Patriarch Jin doesn't even need to take action. A maid under his command can destroy the Lu family. It's just that I feel a little sorry for Xiaoxu. Lu Xuanji said, I originally thought that we would be together for a lifetime. Half drunk, half awake, half floating, but who would have thought that we would have to compromise with reality? Heaven and earth have their own laws, all things are not free, and who has not bowed to reality? The elder said, the purpose of cultivating immortals is to be free, but who is really free? People can't be too selfish. When considering yourself, you must also consider your family and the people. I don't ask you to be a person of great virtue and kindness, I just ask you not to be too selfish. Lu Xuanji sighed and acquiesced in his heart. Life is not a Kyang Yeo drama after all. In Kyang Yeo dramas, love is everything, and love is above everything. As the saying goes, I can't live without love. But in reality, many things are above love. I'm sorry for Xiaoxu. Lu Xuanji said. You can't say it, I'll go and persuade her, said the elder. No need, I'll face it myself. Lu Xuanji said firmly. You have to take the blame for the part you caused, and there is absolutely no such thing as the elder taking your place. In the cave, sitting on the bed, hugging her knees, Yi Fixu's tears flowed down. She looked very aggrieved, like a poor little thing, like an abandoned cat. I'm sorry, Xiaoxu. Lu Xuanji stepped forward and said. There were thousands of words to say, but when it came to his lips, only 5 words were left. Yi Fixu was still crying. Lu Xuanji said, if you feel aggrieved, you can cancel the Taoist companionship. I don't want it. Yi Fixu said angrily. Lu Xuanji said, it's my fault. Don't blame me, it's my fault. Yi Fixu spoke, crying as she said, I should have thought of it earlier. My brother was born in the Lu family, so he would naturally think about the Lu family. How could he be as selfish as me? Back then, I was just a girl from the countryside. It was my brother who went there and saved me from suffering. Over the years, the Lu family has given me a lot of resources and skills. The Lu family doesn't owe me anything, but I owe the Lu family a lot. For the sake of the Lu family, my brother would naturally have to take in more Taoist companions and concubines, and have more children. How could he just stay with me alone? It's impossible to possess my brother alone. I have always understood this truth, but I still have some fantasies. It was the words of the great elder that shattered my fantasy. The situation of the Lu family is not good. Marrying the Yi family will be of great benefit to the Lu family, and to my brother. All of this is of great benefit to my brother, but I have never been clear-headed. At this point, Yi Fixu wiped the tears from her face and said, brother, I want you to hug me. Okay. Lu Xuanji stepped forward and hugged her directly. Brother, I want you to kiss me. Yi Fixu said. Okay. Lu Xuanji kissed her forehead and tapped it gently. Not the forehead, but the lips. Yi Fixu said. Okay. Lu Xuanji kissed her mouth directly. Yi Fixu closed her eyes directly and indulged in each other. Until the moment of panting, Yi Fixu said, brother, let's sleep together. Don't make trouble, don't be angry. Lu Xuanji said, I'm not angry, but I'm telling the truth. Yi Fixu said, brother's aptitude is a bit poor. It takes 10 years to improve one level. If you encounter a bottleneck, it will take longer. It takes hundreds of years to reach the 9th level of foundation building. It's considered luck. Lu Xuanji interrupted directly. I'm lucky to improve one level in 10 years. Not everyone is like you, with a spiritual root that can fly directly in the sky. Brother, I have a way that will make you faster. Yi Fixu said. What method? Lu Xuanji asked curiously. I have cultivated the great magical power of the Hehuan demon sect, Yin Yang seizing Dao technique, and have already perfected it. If my brother and I both rest in yin and yang, I can reverse the magical power and transfer part of the origin of Xuanji fetus into my brother's body to help him forge pseudo Xuanji fetus. At that time, my brother will have the power of the third level of Xuanji fetus. Yizu said. But this will damage your origin and cause you great harm. Lu Xuanji said. It's okay, just rest for 100 years and you will recover. Yifixu said. Life, how many 100 years? Lu Xuanji sighed. Not long ago, Ancestor Jin wanted to give me a pseudo-immortal demon body, but I refused. Guess why? Yifixu asked. Why is this? I just won't tell you. Lu Xuanji smiled. Yifixu was furious. Yifixu leaned in his arms and murmured, brother, are you really going to refuse? I'm a stunning beauty, just a little younger. In the future, I will be no less beautiful than Jin Leozu. I offered myself to you, but why did you refuse? Xiaoxu, stop imagining. Lu Xuanji said, girls are just thoughtful and like to fantasize. Chapter 100 Yifixu leaves. Brother, this good thing only happens today. I will regret it tomorrow. Yifixu said. Besides, do you think I'm stupid? Lu Xuanji smiled and put on an unfathomable look and said, Xiaoxu, compared to the origin of the innate Dao body, I want a promise from you more. If I unfortunately pass away, remember to become an immortal, become a Dao Jinxun, and salvage me from the long river of time and revive me. As the saying goes, a girl 3 years older than a man holds a gold brick. A girl 300 years older than a man gives her an elixir. A girl 3000 years older than a man ranks among the immortals. There is no such thing as living off others by working hard to cultivate. When the time comes for you to become a Dao immortal, remember to let me rank among the immortals. Brother, you just like to talk nonsense. Yifixu cried and laughed. Heavenly spiritual roots only have advantages before the nascent soul, but after the nascent soul, they are just like everyone else. The innate Dao fetus does have advantages, but it is far from becoming an immortal. Key training, foundation building, purple mansion, golden elixir, nascent soul, spirit transformation, refining emptiness, fusion, tribulation, Mahayana, etc. Each one is more difficult than the other. I'm somewhat sure about Yuanying, but I'm not sure about the next few realms. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, Xiaoxu, I have confidence in you. Brother. They kissed and lingered again. After a long time, Yifixu said, brother, I'm leaving. Why? Don't be angry. Lu Xuanji said, it's not safe outside. Even if you want to leave, you have to build the 9th level of foundation, or even half a step to the purple mansion. Half a step to the purple mansion is nothing. I'm already a purple mansion master. Yifixu smiled, as if showing off something. A trace of terrifying aura emanated from her body. Just a trace, but it was like a terrifying dragon waking up. After emitting a trace, it was retracted. It came quickly and went quickly. It was like a dream. But Lu Xuanji was stunned. That aura was somewhat similar to that of the old ancestor Lu Fuming. You have become a purple mansion master. Lu Xuanji was slightly stunned, as if he was in an illusion. Not long ago, I just passed the 9 difficulties and became a master of Zifu. Yifixu said, with a slight smile on her lips, as if she was showing off. It seemed as if she was saying, praise me quickly. This look was like a child who got full marks in the exam and went home to show off to his parents. Lu Xuanji curled his lips and became speechless. Yifixu has become a master of Zifu, but she is still the same. She still hasn't changed at all. You look a bit like the old master of Zifu. You have to keep working hard. Lu Xuanji said, but he couldn't continue, as if he thought of something. You lied to me. Not long ago, you told me that you were at the 8th level of foundation building, but now you have directly become the Purple Palace. You have also learned to lie. Yifixu said intimately, I lied to my brother, but I won't hurt him, but I can't say for other women. It's like a mirror of love and moon. One side is a beauty, and the other side is a skeleton. One side makes the cultivators be fascinated by the beauty, but the other side makes the cultivators sink and become a skeleton. Brother, don't believe those beautiful women. The old ancestor Jin can't be trusted, and the young lady of the Yi family can't be trusted either. I understand. Lu Xuanji nodded. Seeing this, Yifixu sighed in her heart. My brother's biggest weakness is that he is not cruel enough and treats others kindly. But when my brother treats others well, others may not remember it. As the saying goes, a little bit of kindness will be repaid with a big amount of hatred. Brother, I'm a purple mansion master. If you spend a double holiday with me, you will not only get the pseudo innate Deo body, but also greatly improve your cultivation and strengthen your foundation. If you miss this opportunity, you will never get another one. Yifixu approached him intimately and said softly, "Stop talking nonsense." Xuanji refused again. "Brother, you are still not cruel," Yifixu said, tears streaming down her face. "If you are not cruel and ruthless, how can you gain a foothold in the world of cultivation? Brother, I'm leaving. If I stay in the Lu family, it will be a disaster for the Lu family. The Danliang sect is good, and the Jin patriarch is also very good. They can allow the Lu family to give birth to 2 or 3 purple mansions, but they cannot allow the Lu family to have a purple mansion master with a spiritual root. If I stay in the Lu family will inevitably face the disaster of extinction. Brother, I'm leaving. It's better to leave. The Lu family's temple is too small to accommodate a great god like you," Xuanji said. "Brother, I'm leaving," Yifixu said, approaching him and kissing him together. After a long lingering, Yifixu said, "Brother, I'm leaving. Let's go." Yifixu stood up, looking back every 3 steps. "Wait a minute." Xuanji seemed to have thought of something and took out a pair of wings and handed them over. "This magic weapon is called the Wings of Freedom. May it accompany you as you grow up and take you straight to the 9th heaven." "I will," Yifixu said, tears flowing again. No matter how high the kite in the sky flies, it is always bound by the silk thread on the ground. It seems that the silk thread is binding the kite, so that the kite cannot fly to a higher sky, but the silk thread is also protecting the kite. Because the silk thread is bound, the kite always has a direction. Once the silk thread breaks, no matter how high the kite flies, it will lose its direction and finally fall to the ground. Xuanji said, "Remember, come home often." "Brother, I remember," Yifixu said, threw down a booklet, and disappeared. "I shed too many tears today, and I will never cry again in the future." Swish. She was dressed in white, graceful, with a veil on her face, and she was isolated and independent. There was no softness anymore. Looking up at the night sky, Yifixu's eyes flashed with reluctance. She wanted to stay with her brother. Even if that woman came, she didn't care. But one should not be too selfish. She once thought about evolving an avatar, and the avatar would walk outside instead of her to cover her tracks. But such a skill was not something she could get. She once tried to comprehend some skills, and wanted to create her own avatar type skills, but after all, there were many disadvantages and defects. If she continued to stay in the Lu family, the risk of being exposed would increase. Once her details were exposed, she would suffer a catastrophe, and the Lu family would also suffer a catastrophe. Those strong people had the ability to make rules, and also the ability to break them. Many people had already set their sights on the Lu family, and the Lu family was under investigation from top to bottom. The risk of her being exposed was also increasing. "I'm leaving. I will never go home, unless I become a Yuanying cultivator," Yifixu said, with determination flashing in her eyes. Disappeared. "This time I'll left to conquer the world of cultivation and kill all the gods. I will never go home until I become a nascent soul. When I prove my truth, I will promise you a picturesque landscape." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.